$5 super chat. Joey, we had more to talk about. Bloom Energy getting downgraded by Jefferies. It's one that I've had on my radar for a while and is down substantially the last couple of days. So it's down 12 1/3 today. So very volatile name. BE is a taker. We're not going to go into that. But yes, I just wanted to mention that super quick. You want to leave them with a thought?
Yeah, I mean, guys, just continue the grind. It was an interesting session. You sell off, you get a little bit of a recovery. And yeah, I mean, I've been trading around the highs, Ethereum as well too, but putting in a higher low. The RGTI quantum space extremely hot. MU was a pretty good trader for us on the day. Keep it green, man. We got a couple more days left in the week, and then hopefully by the end of the month, we can start to turn things around again, even though we're not down drastically. But I would like to see this market and the breadth start to expand once again and put in some new highs.
I agree with that. I agree with that a lot.
Especially in the crypto space. Let's put in a new high there.
That'd be great, yeah.
By
Peter Schiff's been dunking on everybody on Next. You should see him. Yeah, he's just living life right now.
Oh, yeah? He's having a good
he's
time?
talking about all the Bitcoiners going broke and all the gold hoarders are going to be, kings and stuff like that. He always does this. Even when Bitcoin is outperforming gold, he still craps on Bitcoin.
Still craps on it.
Shout out to Peter
I mean,
Schiff.
it's significantly more volatile, obviously, right?
Well, clearly he's made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Anybody who's been in gold has made plenty of money this year, so there's not much to say bad about what he's saying, but I just wish he wouldn't crap on Bitcoin so much. But yeah, it is what it is.
Adara, we need Cornrow Drake next time, we need.
He wants Cornrow Drake on the infographic, Adara.
Whatever Drake I found who was present. Like one of the other pictures, I think when he had the heart in his head for 2 minutes, you get hard head Drake for like half a second, I think, in one of the visuals. Honestly, I was like, which Drake works is what I'm trying to do here. You. He was not my big focus. I had to read through like hours worth of tweets, so you know what I mean?
What, CLB Drake wasn't good enough?
Well, I found the first Drake I could find. It was not that serious. Although, Joe, he was wearing cornrows in the Degrassi documentary. Cornrow Drake was interviewed for the Degrassi.
You liked him in the Degrassi documentary, though.
He came off really well.
Yeah.
Like he was really humble, oddly enough. He was enjoying himself. He talked about how he used to sleep at the Degrassi studio in between like recording songs, and they said to him, "You can't do that." Yeah, honestly, if you want like a different view on Drake, I would kind of recommend it.
Sounds good. Thank you, Adara. And thank you guys for joining us today. It is 2:03, and the big boys are that way. See you guys tomorrow.
What up? Cornrow Drake, everyone was just talking about there. Apparently that is going to be a thing. I was going to find that infographic up there because my challenge was, and I need to see it, I'm going to go through Trader TV research, is to see how many on that OpenDoor infographic, how many faces people can actually name. I think, because I feel like when I glanced at it, I was like, well, for sure 2, and I was not sure about a third one, but I got to go. I'll go find it at some point. I just wanted to point out, I don't know if you guys showed that gold chart when you were talking about it just a couple of seconds ago. I don't believe, well, maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but not too shabby. You could look at this a lot of ways. Like you could look at, you could like GLD as a vehicle. Obviously, you could look at gold futures. Maybe you like the miners. Maybe you like the GDX as an ETF to work into. But yeah, gold has been absolutely fantastic. And when the market pulls back, it's going to be a good one. No questions asked. I also heard, whoops, I meant to type on my P Pro 8. Not that.
Oh my God.
The quantum names obviously going absolutely ham. QBTS up a couple of points, and Rigetti 7%. It actually cracked those highs. So, thankfully we got out of the short because this stock has been going absolutely ham the last couple of days. I'm kind of with Adara. In terms of momentum, this one seems like it's the best one, at least right now. Fundamentally, fundamentally, no one cares about any of them because fundamentally, like this is a big time future play, right? So yeah, I definitely Rigetti, no questions asked. 7% to the upside and continuing to rally. Probably should have looked long again today. Is what it is. Played one short, and look at this thing off VWAP. It's just going and going into a weak market. The quantum names simply do not care.
We reshorted TQs during that show. I was posting it there. So now we've got a 40-cent winner right here. $81.50 Marvell. We're talking about Rigetti being up 6%, 7%. Here is the banger right here. Marvell just today coming out and blasting like, yeah, we're talking about this stock for a minute, right? So glad that it's finally starting to go now. We obviously made a mistake buying it pre-earnings, but no mistake after that. 5 billion share buyback, and there was a story midday. There's some sort of it's not on here though. There was some sort of a conference or something going on where Marvell just told everybody what's good. So, oops, I always close that. There it is, details. So I see you guys in the chat are asking me, does Marvell have more to go? Well, I've been telling our friends in our friend chat that Neil and I have here that $80 would be some kind of resistance. Didn't really resist, you know. So, yeah, that's the 200 period moving average. So up jumps the boogie, man. You know, we're having a day trading. We're having a day in the portfolio. This is what I mean, like when it's a bull market. I mean, great for the gold bugs, everything. This is why Bitcoin for me is the most puzzling, and actually why I think it's about time to start picking up some Bitcoin, because there's a lot of the space, man, just still going. So I think for those of you asking, if you're along with me on Marvell here, I think we're getting into a spot now, man, where you know, this maybe needs to be looked at here to trim just a little bit. I mean, that top is 85. You know, we had made the play down here first, ripped up to 85. We were getting out along the way. Then we bought more here before earnings, thinking that this little drift down was whatever. Then it made the move down here. Thankfully, able to save ourselves by buying on that third day because we put our money where our mouth is. Right? We talk about that. We also, you know, and not all is roses, right? We bought Lulu and then did the same thing on Lulu as well on their earnings. Bought here day 3. Didn't look good for a minute, 164, 165. Now this is starting to come back to the upside. This one, Lululemon, much more ways to go back upside. But I just looked, still down about 10% or maybe even a little bit less than that now on this name. I don't like this nearly, obviously, as much as Marvell. So, but there it is right now. This is actually a Lulu sweater, but this move to the downside here, we're just about to wrap up right through. See if we could take down 190. But yeah, it's today's Marvell's world, and we're all kind of just living in it right here. I don't know, up 9% seems a little overdone on the share buyback. But, you know, that's what it is. So, yeah, what's up, Dogtown? Yeah, don't tell about it, be about it. That's exactly what I'm doing here, hopefully every day, putting out the trades. You know, like we had TQs written down short, right? So we're being about that. We had Alibaba written down long. You know, we're hitting that. We had Palantir actually written down long. We tried it again there during the midday at 180. No workout. Boom. To the downside goes Palantir. Man, that would have been a decent short right there. We had recently raised more capital in Palantir up here and got out at the 180 mark there as well. And then the one thing that we dumped out of that's right at the price that we got out of was Intel. I mean,
right
Intel,
back at 31.
We were so happy the other day. We were like saying, yeah, it's down to 29. We did a good move getting out right now, but there it is upside again into that same level of $31 again there for Intel. So I think smart traders probably thinking about getting something out now that we're up here again. But hey, man, don't listen to me. It doesn't matter. I was just thinking that's where I recently got out. And then we talked about BigBear AI. So that's a nice downside play there today as well, waiting for that to get back in again. So we'll wait and see if we can average into those longs. So yeah, I believe there could be a dump coming soon in the futures as well. Steve, or Starvin like. No, not Starvin like. Isra there in the chat. I mean, that's why we're short. We let this go all the way back up. So there's the cover. So here's the short 102.80, right? Plus written on here, of course. And that's all for free. We have Sharif's morning notes going out as well. You guys can look at your inbox for those. 102.80 downside. We covered right there on the break of the 50 period. We put it on our Instagram. So that's about $2 and change there on the downside. And then we just reshorted it right there again. Multiple takes on the reshort. All right, man. Let's go, man. We're not a trader. We just act like one on TV here, right? So, but there's some plays. Let's go back over to Sharif, and let's go over some news.
Boom. Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, everyone, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. I'm blending into the background. This black on black's not working for me. The big boys, they're locked, they're loaded, and they're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get those tickers over here is to get into the chat every day and vote. Super simple, guys. Throw in that $sign followed by whatever ticker your heart so desires. Make sure to vote every day, guys. Let's look first at the four major averages. Again, all four major averages in negative territory, leading off here first with the ES losing 6,700, at least for the moment, down into 6,682, down 0.5%. Likewise with the NQ below 24,700, down 0.5%. The Dow also taking it on the chin, down 0.46, but the worst performing major average on the day is the small cap led Russell 2000, down 0.86. So again, second day in a row, all four major averages negative territory. BigBear AI, at least it was up big yesterday on this headline that they secured yet another government contract here. This time it's not to do with airports, it's to do with the Navy, an Army contract as well. So decent look yesterday for BigBear, taking back 8, but losing it today, guys, down into about 7.5, down 5.2% on the day.
Yeah, it's like this one didn't really get going today. Like it was very like the $7 move to it was 7 to 8, and then later it kind of went to 8.50 yesterday's trade. The trade was really like early on $7 to $8, and it closed at $7.99. So $8 was a bit of a thing. I was playing it for a short today, but ideally, like to me, the best short would have been a failed breakout of the high, which never happened. But if you look at this stock, I mean, from a technical standpoint, like this just came all the way from that 200 period, kind of consolidating at 5 and went right to the top. Not the 52-week high, but the July high. We'll call it the summer high here at 850. So it gets there, takes a little bit of time off, at least for today. If not, potentially tomorrow, maybe back into like 7, and then the 50 period moving average, I think, make a lot of sense for BBAI. But yeah, for this afternoon, I mean, I'm sitting at VWAP, but it's actually breaking down as we speak. I'm not taking the low of the day break on a small capper. We'll look to play some short the pop situations like earlier this morning. But yeah, it's just taking a couple of days off. When you go up from $5 to $8.50 in its resistance, and the market's pulling back, it's Palantir is pulling back, and sometimes it'll follow that as well. You're going to see this kind of thing happen. And until it loses $7, it's very much still in the top end of the range. So I think you got a little bit of ways to go to the downside before this finds another level where it can maybe consolidate, maybe gear up for another run, but it's just blowing off a little steam here today. So we're looking short, gonna try to get short if we pop back in to VWAP about 780.
Look, a shout out to my BigBear AI army. It planned out exactly as we talked about, 650, 750, 850. So yeah, no surprise that this is happening right now. I'm not going to be buying anything anytime soon. I'm just going to trade this. If it comes back into the 50 period moving average, maybe we'll put some more money back into it down here at $6. But it's held. If I actually zoom this out a little bit, you'll see this 200 period moving average has really been the thing for BBAI. So yeah, we're long on this for a while, and it's been, we bought it here, we got out here, back down in, we got back out up there. So we're just riding this thing like it's your favorite roller coaster over there at Cedar Point. But yeah, BBAI, love the stock. All right. I run, you run, I ran, but we got to pay some bills here first.
Yeah, in 14 years, they've had 0 hacks and 0 excuses. BTCC.com has been delivering when others are not. Trade Bitcoin up to 500 times. Even Tesla, gold, you can trade Forex, and with smart copy trading, don't just sit and watch the pros, you can trade like them. Regulated in the US, Canada, and Europe, and trusted by 6.8 million traders. And we got a Trader TV Live exclusive. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description box and grab a 15% deposit bonus. BTCC.com, where pros trade, and now so can you. Let's go check in on IREN.
Yeah, this is a great looking chart here on IREN, guys. Today up 14.7% after Arete Research initiated coverage on the name and announced a buy rating with the stock announced at $78 a share. That's a nice premium from where it's currently trading at $47.90. Just to give you a background on this stock, they're an Australian-based data center company. They mine Bitcoin as well as obviously hosting AI, guys. So good little look here for them. A fantastic September for IREN. Let's just see exactly how much we're up on the month. Since the 3rd of September to today, we are up 91% on IREN.
Yeah, I mean, double-digit short flow. Let me just
91% this month.
1 second. Let me look. I need to pull up a higher time frame because I'm not. Let me pull up a weekly on IREN.
That is right, 91%.
Wow. Okay, let me pull up a monthly on IREN. This is what 91% this month. Sometimes you have to go really far back out. This is that U. Oh my goodness, that's that U-shaped breakout. Remember the Robinhood? SoFi is doing this. Yeah, SoFi is actively doing this right now. You got to lock in. This is one of these like trading strategies that we've seen, and especially in a bull market. Obviously, it's gonna be really good in a bull market. It helps, but you blow out an IPO price that you've been running away from the entire time. And yeah, I get it. Buy the bottoms is great, but look at this on the monthly. Once this breaks out over that recent market high, because that'll be or its all-time high. It just doesn't even look back. Like I said, double-digit short float in the right space. Does it feel toppish? Absolutely, it feels a little bit toppish. This is one where, like personally, like I'd be rigging the register here. You can talk about Bitcoin mining when that's doing nothing. And right now, the AI play is kind of heading back in. And growth is sort of pulling back as we speak. This feels like an obvious sort of ring the register, but it was about $30. So you get what 60, 70% from that IPO high breakout on IREN. That's about as good as it gets. And that setup's been gold. I mean, you've seen a little bit of an explosion in SoFi when it did a very similar setup, and it's in the beginning of a move like that. And Robinhood is, I want to say, the poster child for this recently. So if you're wondering like what I'm talking about when you look at Robinhood, that's what Robinhood looks like with that similar setup. Not to say IREN is Robinhood, but you start breaking out these types of historical prices, and momentum is your friend.
Yeah, till the end. All right, I just want to say to everybody, like this Marvell, this just bounced off of the 50-period moving average, so this could get ready to break. So we could go longer here. We just refused to crack there. And held it. So maybe we could test it one more time before we get super, super confident. But this hold of 80.50, I know there's just a lot of you looking at this. I mean, again, a stock that's up 9% in a day with pretty decent market cap. So we'll wait to see if there's going to be more love for this name. But I was just thinking, like, we just bounced there off the 50-period moving average. So it's really been respecting it, since we started getting going here. VWAP was too far away right now, and we're underneath the 21. But we just got bounced off right there. So the next area to try to test is right here, 81.70. So watch out for Marvell trying to go back there as well. So I don't know, 2NY said, are you talking about BigBear AI? I'm not sure. You mentioned here, what if your average is $5? It's been trimming down since the 840 mark. 500 shares. I mean, that's basically what I'm doing. That's basically what I'm in at. I'm at 4 and change. But yeah, I like everything that you're throwing down right now. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do is peace out. If you're talking about BigBear, I'm not sure. So all right, let's go back over to the desk right there and talk about another meme stock with OpenDoor.
Yeah, OpenDoor having a good day, Sean, 16%, but it had a tough few days after double topping there at around 10.5, 11 bucks down. Closed out yesterday just north of $7 today. The high of the day is 838. It's moving up on this headline after the release of a robust new residential sales report from the U.S. Census Bureau and the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Guys, good look today for OpenDoor.
Yeah, 15% is, like, it's good. It's definitely good for OpenDoor, but it's done obviously way bigger than this recently. And look, I thought it was going to go a little further on this pullback. It made some sense to make it to like $6, but it doesn't really matter. Momentum is momentum. in the same way that we were just talking about BBAI is blowing some steam off after going up for a while, my gut is telling me that OpenDoor is blowing some steam off after going down a little bit. Like, I'm not prepared to say that, oh, this is your new low, and every time this is done, it's made a fresh high. Like, you pull back into $2, and eventually it breaks out. It pulls back here into $6 and breaks out. You pull back here into $8.50 and doesn't break out. So the last pullback didn't take out the highs. So I kind of think you're still on the back end of this trade, but that's my 2 cents. I took one shot at it for being close to a flat trade. Got a little bit of a move, but it did not follow through, and it's been trending up. But I'm still of the mind here, and I could put this on a 15-minute, but I'm still of the mind that there's a breakdown off these highs from yesterday. It's having some trouble chewing through the top of yesterday's range. And as long as that's true, like, that pullback into VWAP will be on my mind. So again, I'm not completely convinced that this thing has found its bottom. And one of the signs is that OpenDoor, the first time in this entire run, that when it found a consolidation level, it didn't bounce and eventually make a fresh high before reclaiming that support level. So that's a first. So I still think it's a little bit of a short opportunity, but I'll be particular about it for that trend break, not just going to sit in front and get run over. Congratulations to everyone that's part of the Open Army that's done really well, but yeah, I feel like it's, at least temporarily, some of its best days might be gone.
Yeah, congratulations to our army here too. As we look at NVIDIA, Trader TV army, always strong and growing. NVIDIA just, like, I cannot believe I got out right there when it broke the 50-period moving average. Again, on here, I mean, there's one place, obviously we have Sharif's notes, which are going to be great. You guys got to go look at that. That's going to be coming out very, very soon. But this is what we had today. Palantir long, we've already talked about that. That's going to be the only red mark on the account today. Palantir, NVIDIA short right there, the TQ short, and then the Alibaba long. So today it's been another one of these kind of days. And I wish I had, I don't know, this never even went against me, this short here at 179.50 on NVIDIA. We took it real early. It didn't get up to our 180, but I was like, you know what, if I like it, I like it. So we tried it there, and it just didn't print where I was hoping it would. So it did right there. It was a monster move, man. That was 179.30s. We got filled at 177.80, so you're talking about $2+ right there. So that was good, but then whoops. So should still be short this name. Glad that we're short the Nasdaq right here at least. So that's happening for me. But okay, let's go back over and talk about Intel.
Intel having a great day, guys. A little bit less than 5.5% on the day green, and recovering somewhat from the selling that we had seen ever since the announcement of the Nvidia deal with Intel, kind of bottoming out there at around 27.78. Today they have an independent headline introducing TrustStamp, AI-powered privacy-first identity verification platform in a new partnership publication. It's going to use AI-optimized biometrics, guys, to ensure privacy using AI. So nice, 5.4%.
Yeah, it's nice for Intel, but that ADAI stock is a very deceptive 10% up. Like, that stock ended up being a dump. Big time pump and dump. And sometimes you kind of have an idea what it might look like by the last time a stock like this goes up. Like, this went 3 and abjectly failed 420, settled back at 3. Seems like it's doing the same thing again here. So it was a nothing burger for IDAI unless you happen to take it, unless you happen to be long right at the open and covered, almost like an IPO play, and covered literally in the first couple of candles, then it was a disaster for you on IDAI. Intel, on the other hand, I think, look, I said I was short the 31 level, so 31, been shorting in front of 31. That's the only place. But I do think it's making a price discovery after this, the Nvidia investment. We already know that the government has a stake, and the bottom seemingly is in on this stock, and it's trying to make a decision about what to do next. The last massive dump was, you go back to last year in the middle of the year, and this is where, right at the 30 to 30 and a half or 31 level, this is exactly where it was consolidating for a while and then dumped off. Big time flat bottom break. So it makes sense we get a little price discovery at this level. If 28 ever goes, then I think you're headed back in for ye old lows on Intel. But as long as the higher high or the prior high holds on in Intel, I think it's got a chance. So as long as it can hold on to the prior high, the structure of the long is okay off the bottoms, I would venture to say that if you get to like 36 or 38, that's like an auto ring the register, sticks out like an absolute sore thumb. So yeah, I mean, if it holds the 28 level, it's already done it for a couple of days here. I think that's a great place if you're long to put a bit of a stop, because I like those prior highs. So let's see if it can hold that and get you to the 35, 36. But for today, this afternoon, just looking to short the 31. And then you break out from that high and you get out.
All right. Yeah, for me, man, if it gets up to 35 or 36, oh boy, we'd be we'll be as happy as you know what. So we're gonna also wait for that. I think that's just once again an obvious area to get out. I mean, I've already got out of this first obvious area, and now I just think the next step is right into here. Remember, they're taking handouts because they can't make money. They're in a good space. I don't know. I think if Intel works, a lot of these other names will work. But I mean, today it's up 5% and Nvidia is down, right? So, you know, there is some love for Intel. There's no doubt about that. You know, the U.S. government's in this name now, so it's got the juice to get even higher than where we are right now. Again, really like the stock, especially on that battle back. I mean, the reason why I got out at 30 the first time was because we were anticipating something like this happening. It's just thankfully it stopped. And we got that bounce up there over the last 2 days. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me why traders still like this name. And I think that it does have that opportunity to get back to 36, 37, at which point we'll get out of another 25 or 30% if it gets up there. And that would be another great one. So, yeah, let's go. Let's go Intel.
Before you go, one other thing. Like those highs that you see like all the way to like 50, like to me, Intel doesn't see those until they're actually they need the fab business to be able to compete on high-end chips. The day that they do that, like if they ever say, if they ever come out and say we're making our highest-end chips and they're being fabricated by us and they're not sending them out, that's going to be a monster day, because that opens up the possibility that they get some real customers in the fab business. And I think there's going to be some pressure. I mean, the U.S. government owns a stake. There'll be some pressure for some of the big names. I'm looking at you, Nvidia, to look at them as a fab. And if that ever happens, it's a to the moon. But that's, again, they can't make their own high-end chips. They don't trust themselves to do that. I think that'll be a big deal. Speaking of the government taking stakes in things, LAC. That's the investment du jour, again, by the U.S. government.
Big day for LAC today. We're trading this to no end on the midday show, but there is a very important headline today. They're looking at getting some of the $2.26 billion loan guaranteed to them by the U.S. government and GM. We're talking about Lithium America, of course, and with respect to their Thacker plant in Nevada, mining lithium. The U.S. government does want to include some conditions on the release of the first of the money, so we'll have to see how this all works out. But good luck enough here for 95%, guys.
We said there, this is not the same as Intel in terms of an actual stake being taken yet. They got that big loan that they're trying to restructure and leave politics out of it. Hey, you need a handout, and in this particular case, there already is a big federal loan, and it's, again, you want to look for restructuring. Like, why not get a piece of it for the shareholders? Like, that's, you know, I'm a free market kind of guy, so like I don't always want the government to be, you know, in the hands of everything. But if you're going to, it actually makes sense that the Treasury, the taxpayers, if they're helping out the company, get a bit of a stake. So we'll see how that one shakes out. Pure squeeze play. I had 11% of the short float. Adara had a source of like 15%. Either way, when you have news like this, knowing that you've seen what happens to the stocks that have this type of a headline, makes all the sense in the world that it's squeezing, although I'll admit that I didn't think it would squeeze this much. It's held VWAP a few times. I just want to point out, it is now cresting off of this high. Like in the aftermarket, it got to $6 and failed. It was a bit of a little local breakout and then a dip into the volume weighted average price, but it's now cresting underneath that $5-6 level, and on the 15-minute is starting to break trend. So it needs to reclaim this 6. Otherwise, I think we're in for a bit of a pullback. Here is Randy is instead of coming up behind us, he's now trying to watch the show through. It's kind of fuzzy. It's a little fuzzy because you're staring at it through this little barrier that we got going on there. He's poking his head through. So we have like the stage. You guys can't see it, but we have the stage sort of cut off, or the former stage cut off by some plastic, so all the dust and stuff doesn't get to this side. Randy just peeking in to see how LAC was doing.
It's amazing that Donald Trump wants to invest all this money into a Lithium America's Canadian-based company.
It's so weird.
I mean, I think that what's his name here, Carney, should get involved and maybe deal with some tariff situation. Maybe come up with something. Would be really nice. But if you do get concussions or have experienced a concussion yourself, you know that there is no reported FDA-approved treatment. NYSE listed Oragenic, symbol OGEN, is changing that with its first intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. The concussion treatment market is projected to reach nearly $8.9 billion. Oh, that feels actually really good. Thank you for doing that. The problem is, Sharif, I'm doing the ad here, so it's like, and now I got it. All right, Oragenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way here. Learn more and schedule a meeting today by scanning that QR code below. Sharif just gave me a nice little massage. Oh, now he's gone. I was going to ask for another one. But there it goes right now. Intel has a little bit of size right there at 976. That's almost, it's not that big. It's 100,000 shares, right? Here's just a little bit of a lesson for everybody here. If you're looking at a level 2 for maybe the first time, as many people might be, I mean, a level 2 is something that doesn't get accessed by every broker or anything like that. It's actually quite awesome that we have level 2 access here, to be honest with you. So, but anyways, rant on that. Yeah, that size, each one of these levels is 100 shares. So, you got to watch out. Intel right now, boring stock of the day, it looks like right here. It's been great for the day, but not doing too much up here. So watch out. I know Neil's in it. He'll talk a little bit, obviously, about those levels. I just wanted to show you the size because I was still on it from our rundown, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, there's some decent size there. So it's not that matters in the long run, but for scalpers like us, there could be something there. We talked about the fact that Bitcoin might have that chance to go. We talked about it before we left you guys at 11 o'clock. It did go, and it did break out. And I want to say thank you to those of you that brought this area to my attention during the first show that we had. It did break it. It was a great long. It goes up to 64.80 right there, falling back in. So I think this is a good sort of protection level here, 64.50. So you don't want to be in IBIT or Bitcoin if that winds up breaking, and we're not too far away from there. And then Ethereum also, unfortunately, is not doing anything really today either. I mean, the market rate here has calmed down just a bit. Like I said, we have the short. We've been hitting, the VIX is probably nice today as well. I have to look at the dollar. This is a little bit different because this is right out of spot right now. That I think if we lose this, it is whoops-a-daisy, and we really start to go back down into levels that people that are long don't really want to see, obviously, unless you're waiting to get a little bit more. That's the best thing about it. You got to just plan your trades. Like there's always, Goolsbee's talking right now about interest rate cuts and stuff, seeing that there may not be, he doesn't feel too comfortable making some of these cuts moving forward. Is that a call for Derek? Okay.
Just quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just quickly before we go to Adara, the VIX is at some highs, but it's not. There's nothing crazy about it. But it's starting to get off the schneid a little bit, right? Like it's been basing out 14 and a half volatility index, and it is breaking a local high. Like the last time that we had a scare, beginning of September, this got up to 19. So I think that's kind of like the next. If it makes that next push, that's when we know we're getting a little more serious about this pullback, right? Like we should see some extension here if this is going to end up turning into a more serious dip. But let's get over to Adara at the desk.
Yeah, I mean, Sean kind of mentioned it there, but just be aware Fed's Goolsbee is talking, and he is being a little bit more cautious, like we've had a lot of Fed members say. He's warning against a series of rate cuts. He doesn't want them to be too front-loaded, just based on this assumption that inflation will be transitory. And again, this continues this pattern we've seen with a lot of Fed speakers saying that the rate decrease that was voted for and went through in September was motivated more by employment than inflation. So inflation concerns very much still a thing, and Fed's Goolsbee worried about it here. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. And that's the thing. We had a lot more Fed talk when you get Powell talking, but certainly throwing a little bit of cold water on there. The percentages haven't changed all that much. We got a super chat. I want to thank you, Tasia. I'm assuming it's Tasia. Tasia Kata. Thank you for all your advice. Made almost 2K today. Hey, let me know what you were trading in there. Your real reason and motivation to keep yourself in the market. Sean, you are an explosion. So appreciate you. Let us know. Hey, let us know what you were looking at, what you're watching, what you're trading today. Always fun, because we have a wealth of traders, and that's what the best thing about this community is. They're looking at small caps, large caps. Heck, I've seen futures, Forex, crypto, like all over the place. One thing I have not seen much of in the chat, though, is a lot of talk about, say, gold. Like, we talk about gold. I haven't really seen people talk about intraday trading in gold or silver or anything like that.
Because we never do.
Well, I don't know, but I've seen a couple people say that they're Forex traders and will watch the show. I'm like, really? Because that's one thing we all pretty much never
Forex
look at.
trading is almost bigger than equity trading.
Absolutely, and it's very technical-based Forex. But here's what I want to do now. I want to make sure we get a fresh start on the symbols here, because we got, like, for the morning, we got Tesla and we got OpenDoor and stuff. So I'm going to hit the fresh start. Reminder, everybody, if you're typing a symbol into the chat, first, to do so, you have to be in the chat and hit the subscribe button. But make sure you hit the $sign and then go $sign, and we were just talking about, so I'll just go GLD. And then someone else went GLD as well, so now that's going to be near the top. But there's GLD, Palantir, so we'll get an idea of what it is that you guys are interested in and what might be moving. We have scanners as well, but I love this as a feature to make sure we're on point. And we're always on point when we go to Adara.
Lots happening here. For one, we heard earlier a report via X from a Semaphore reporter that Trump was going to sign the TikTok deal tomorrow. Now we're seeing more sources report that the TikTok deal will be signed by U.S. President Donald Trump tomorrow. Speaking of Trump, Fed's Goolsbee is now being a little bit critical of Trump's tariffs, saying that Trump's trade policies limited his willingness to cut borrowing costs more aggressively, and that specifically the policies were to blame for his reluctance to lower borrowing costs. So that's happening here right now. Fed's Goolsbee speaking out about the tariffs. Back to you.
Yeah, just to that point, I mean, I'm just sitting here on the TQQ, so I was thinking, like, with Goolsbee speaking and all this kind of stuff right now, let me get out another piece. We'll bid some 05s. We've done well to get out, but you can see that, okay, and we missed that. I'm punching some 9s. Well, I got some 8s there. All right, so we'll get a little bit out there. We're still bidding lower. I only have a quarter left, 20% left of this position. And as Neil mentioned, man, you'll often see us trading everything. I think primarily Joe and I will be the ones maybe trading the futures and some of the crypto, like IBIT or ETHA. Neil will also look at those. But as far as the futures, Joe and I will pretty much always use the TQQs as something to look at. You can also, trade stuff like SMH and SOXL and things. So like that, right? So that's something to look out for. And you can always see our positions there at the bottom, as you can see here. The one-day move there, a couple back-to-back days negative there in the Nasdaq, and I think that that goes to talk more about gold, right? So gold right now with a down push today, I mean, matching what the Nasdaq is doing, but gold recently takes an all-time high. I have no idea why these candles are red here. But yeah, so they shouldn't be, but there it goes to the downside, unless we had some bad wicks that were just turning those upside down. But anyways, gold is obviously seen as an inflation hedge, right? I mean, the purchasing power with fiat is just getting crushed like every single day. We have inflation hitting, and then we have, we just talked about the Fed just printing money continuously as well. This is a safe haven asset as traders flock over to gold. I mean, every country, I don't want to say every country, but most, apparently the U.S. has this all in Fort Knox and whatnot. So gold is one of the protected entities that you can't just mine for the same way as Bitcoin. You got to find a mine and go after gold. And gold's been one. Okay. that just correct? I thought there was 3
One of them is
red candles there just 2 seconds ago. I think if you just rewind it, my chart literally just changed there on the daily.
So did mine.
As if my chart is listening.
No, but mine changed too. I swear to hand to hand. Mine also had the 3rd red, but it did.
Yeah,
that said, one of them is legitimate. Like today's legitimately.
Yeah,
red
today's a downside
Today is
day.
legitimately a downside.
We also have
silver is
the thing. Yeah, the thing about gold here. I just want to tell everybody, it's like, as the Nasdaq and the market gets higher, and this is happening to me right now, and I talked about it earlier when we were just crushing all the trades, and Neil goes, "What's the matter?" And I'm just like, just feeling like it's just things are getting a little bit too upside. You know, and I just think that a lot of people will hedge their portfolios with gold. And I think that that's a lot of what's been happening. You know, they're getting out of some of these huge winners that they've had, NVIDIAs of the world, Palantirs of the world, the Rigettis, the whatever, SMRs. You go on and on. I don't need to tell our audience all about these winners. And I just think that there could be also a flight over to gold, because now that we've got all this cash, if you're selling these tops, where are you putting it? And then, you know, a lot of that, I believe, goes into gold. And I mean, also a weak US dollar helps that gold bull case as well. But today, you know, coming back in. So if you do believe in the bullish gold run that we've been having, you know, wait for dip buys and whatnot. Like this is where I'm in, and I talk about it all the time right there back in January. So it was making this huge move, got the FOMO, made the move down, and was like, oh, okay, you know, no idea where to buy. Thought it could maybe wait all the way back in. We didn't get near the 200 period. We might have at that time. That could have been where that 200 period was. But then I just waited for that past high to break, and then I got an embarrassing low amount as it continues to go to the high side. So I think that if you are a bull here on gold or want to get some exposure to it, like I believe now it's justifiable to do that. It's outpacing the S&P 500 over the last 40 years now. So I was just going to say, if you do come back in and then hang around, and I don't know if 320 is the right spot or not. That's where the 50-period moving average is. But I'd like to see it come into here, bounce a little bit, then gap and go back through here and try to get long around 325 to enjoy this back to the upside. So if gold continues to have a little bit of a rundown, then I think that there is you know, a chance here to get it back to the 50-period moving average and then, you know, add that back to your portfolio. So I can go over the bear cases for gold as well, but to me, those are the bull cases right there in a little point form about why gold's maybe been outperforming as of late. And I could see that as people get nervous about the whole market in general, you could see money now being pulled out of gold. Right, I still think cash is king, and it does give you that diversity, especially when you can get 4 or 5% in a high-yielding savings account. Yeah. So I think that's well worth it. A lot of people have made more money this year than they can even count.
That's the thing. Like the fact that you can get a pretty good yield does take a little bit out there, but silver is usually, it's like the forgotten like stepchild when it comes to gold, and that's because most of the time it probably deserves to be. At least the price action will tell you that. And I understand, like, look, it's one of those, and I say this caveat every single time, anytime you bring up silver and how it's historically undervalued versus gold and should be going, then you hear about people talking about manipulation, this and that. I don't want to get into that stuff. But it's in a moment right now where it is going. So, like, silver is playing some catch-up, and it's doing so in a good way the last couple of months here. This is a legitimate breakout in silver for the last few months, and it hasn't really shown any signs of slowing down. It's actually still accelerating. You're going to have a month. Well, I mean, there's a week left, but it's looking like it's going to be bigger than the prior month. Now that I say that, it'll probably pull back, but still some room to go till next resistance on silver. And this was a nice breakout at 32. I feel like we had somebody on, but I don't remember whom it was. I know we had a guest on that liked this silver breakout on the monthly chart. And maybe if gold slows down a bit, this could give you a little bit of a catch-up trade. But as far as intraday trading it goes, similar chart to GLD. And of course, since we mentioned it, GLD is actually leading the board, which makes sense. It's like, no one ever talks about it, and now it's gonna be up there. Tesla and Amazon, almost perfect because going in absolutely opposite directions. Well, Tesla up 3%, Amazon's only down 0.2. That's a deceiving down 0.2. I feel like. Well, I guess it's because Amazon got hit yesterday. This is the thing about the percent up or down. Like, to say Amazon's down 0.2% doesn't really do today justice because it gapped up overnight off of some of those lows. Amazon's right back at that 50-period moving average on the daily. Oh, sorry. well, close to the 200 period moving average on the daily, I should mean. Under the 50 period, getting close to that 200 period moving average on the daily. Another stock that ran to the highs, rejected the high, and can it put in that higher low? I think this is a stock that I think is going to go into it doesn't go bear, I don't believe, until it breaks the 200 period moving average. So I think you're good until it breaks that. But if it goes bear, this could end up being more of a value play than anything else. Amazon taking it on the chin, while Tesla, I mean, there wasn't like there was some kind of crazy catalyst with Tesla today.
Amazon has to go down a lot because bear's territory is 20%.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't. It breaks
it
breaks the 200 period moving average. It's not even in bear territory.
No, it has to go to 190.
Yeah, like it's a ways from bear territory. But I still think that 200 period moving average will be good. Tesla, this 440, for lack of a better hell, there's a seller at 440. There's a seller at 440 yesterday, but that only lasted a few seconds at the open. It's lasted all afternoon here, all day long. Forget about the afternoon, all day long. 440.60 is like the local high, and there's not a wick above it. Every single time it's rejected. If this takes 441, it's worth a breakout. Like you can't see we can't talk about flat bottom breaks all the time, which we do, and not be willing to look at a flat top break. You've got relative strength in Tesla. You have it queuing up for this breakout. I don't see why it's not all systems go through 441 for a break. I mean, watch out for a fail. I mean, obviously there's sellers up here, so if it loses the prior high, then it's easy to sort of jump out of it. But oh my goodness, as I was talking, I didn't even get an order out. That was doing nothing and it just broke the level 2 seconds ago. It was just at 440.20 and it just broke 441 as we were talking about it. It was doing absolutely nothing. And now it's at 442 and still going. Sheesh. That stock is going absolutely nuts. Tesla's got it today. Like, I guess it's the passing of the baton. Track and field world championships just happened, so I'm thinking of that. They're getting the baton around and they're going from one meg to another meg. And this has been the most depressed one, so why wouldn't it go next? Next one after this to make a fresh high is going to be Apple breaking its all-time high.
Yeah,
well, I mean, that's
I'm all about all of that. Yeah, Apple we called breaking all-time highs a couple months ago based on this new iPhone release. They don't even have too much AI news yet, but honestly, the new AI, the iPhone 17, and then what's been going on with Siri and the improvement. Even Marissa yesterday was talking to Siri and doing stuff, and she's like, wow, this is way better. And it was something about some basic kind of stuff, but at least it seemed to have been a bit improved. She has the 16 Pro there. Sharif just got 17 Pro. So,
you know, my dad was saying he really liked the, it was like the, shoot, they just lost our power again. Guys, you just tripped the break and we lost our power again. We'll continue going. Last time you guys could hear us, so... I
mean, I have positions.
Yeah, obviously. No, what he was saying is there's a call, like when you get like a spam call, it'll answer it for you, and it's like it's a call screening, I think.
Oh, no, yeah, they have it. Yeah, you can do it.
Is that new? Because he was saying he's loving that new feature.
Yeah, Marissa told me to put it on. You open it up, see it says screen unknown calls immediately.
We just have to restart
I'm going to push yes to that. There.
Yeah, and then it screens the call for, like it answers and it asks who are you calling from, like that kind of thing. So he said he loved it.
The wife there. I think we got to... Oh, great. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Fantastic news. Okay, so I guess we just have to reboot our own...
Yeah, let's throw to Adair for a second.
Rebooting our PCs.
This part of the show is brought to you by our friends at Beta Pro by Global X Canada. Exciting news for sophisticated Canadian traders. Beta Pro by Global X Canada has just launched 6 new triple leveraged ETFs, offering 3 times bull and 3 times bear exposure to the S&P and TSX 60 semiconductors and U.S. Treasuries. But even better, they're offering a special fee rebate, dropping management fees to just 65 basis points until December 31st, 2025. These ETFs also employ currency hedging to seek to neutralize U.S. dollar exposure, providing performance that may more accurately reflect the underlying U.S. equity indices. If you're a tactical, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance, check out betapro.ca/3xdaily to learn more.
Actually, we were just talking about battery backup. Remember the first time it happened to us at our office?
Yeah, it's all good.
We got a battery backup
This
like
is an
the next
unheard of
that
thing.
day.
Yeah.
I mean, we literally ordered one. I don't remember when it
That
came
was our
to
office. This is we just play the game over here.
All right.
Yeah, we're just gonna get logged back in here, and we talked about this yesterday. There's nothing, honestly. We're just playing around. Like this happens to everybody all the time. Like we're just having fun here. We're losing power because these guys behind us are doing work back there, and obviously sometimes I guess breakers get tripped, or I have no idea what's going on. But at the end of the day, I think it's very wise that all traders. You can see Neil's screens are white right now as we're trying to log back in. All traders should have, of course, unless you're hosting a show, a battery backup.
Yes.
So that if lightning or anything like that happens, your Wi-Fi goes down, that won't do anything with a battery backup. But if your computer happens to have some sort of a impactful event happen to it, power-wise, it's always nice to get that little boost back there. So it looks like we're slowly starting to get back here. For me, I'll just going to, again, just sort everything out. I got to log back into certain things that we have here. The TQs did make another move down. We just got another fill right there. So I was just saying to everybody that what I was going to say is that with, was it Goolsbee or whatever? I don't even have the internet. I don't even have my charts or e-signal or anything loaded. So this is all there we go. Now my Binance is loading up right here as well. That's to show you guys the crypto plays. So just move that down a little bit there and get going. I was going to say, make sure that you do have some kind of a battery backup because you never do know. And I think that Neil and I will always sit here. That's why I'm not that worried when it goes down because I have stop orders. And I was just going to say, my stop on this, we're just going to use VWAP 101.50. If this breaks underneath that, then we're going to get out and just work on it from there, right? So that's going to be something that I'm going to continue to do here every day is to mention that, yeah, this battery backup thing can save you and so can stop orders.
Stop orders are huge. And remember, your stop orders, like if you're trading in real time, I would imagine so just about everywhere. Like your stop orders should always be good. Like some of them are going to sit and your broker's going to fire them. They might actually sit server side in New York if you're trading the US markets. And then some of them, even the ones that we use that will sit on our side, like they're still going to trigger whether you're logged in or not. So I am a firm believer in having stop orders out there just in case. I have to get back in the chat as well.
I guess we got to load all that up.
I have to load that back up, and I have to log back into Unity so I can hear stuff in my ear. But yeah, mostly back. It doesn't take very long. It's just a matter of logging back in. So yeah, nothing crazy happened. Oh, that's right. It's on bbai because it's going to default to the thing that I was on when I logged in this morning. So that'll be bbai. But Intel was doing nothing. I had my stop order right here, just above 31. I actually still had an offer out to get in that did not fill. So I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that. We didn't get another reload there at 30.90. Doesn't really matter. But looking for the volume weighted average price, pretty much nothing changed there. Nvidia, as it'll load up a little slower, but Nvidia's actually starting to bounce. This might have been an out at that $0.50. Yeah, this just bounced off the $0.50, heading right back into this top. Like my stop's right above this local high, 177.33. I believe I have my stop just above that. Yeah, just a couple of ticks above that one. Might look for a reload, but this might have been an out at that 176.5. If I get that again, I think I'm going to take it. Roadrunner, do you use stops? Good question. Do you use stops in your long-term account? No. In my swing account, yeah, like I've used, not always, but like I'll have stop orders on things that are in my TFSA, my tax-free savings account where I'm looking for a more short-term play. But in like my retirement account, I hesitate to say like never, like it's possible that I might have, but I can't recall. I don't think I have. Certainly I know in my TFSA I have for sure. Like I have one in right now on UNH. So like UNH is in my tax-free savings account. We took the long off 3 in this little consolidation here. I need this to load up. There you go. Now you get a better look at it. So we took this one off 3, took some out as it pushed back into that local high, and my stop, which is, well, my stop's underneath this 293, like wick bottom, which will be under the 50-period moving average. Now that I'm looking at it, I might actually move it now that the 50-period moving average is actually at $300. Yeah, see, I might move it up. I might move it up to the 50-period at essentially break even. It won't be break even because like my long is between 300 and 301, and you could probably guess it exactly what. It said like 69. But yeah, I'll probably move this stop up. I'll use that in my like a swing trade. But in a long term, like if I own like Apple in my long term account, I'm not setting a stop loss on Apple. And you want to know why I wouldn't do it? Because the last thing you want to have happen is, remember on Liberation Day when all of you-know-what was breaking loose? I would be so, like imagine you get stopped out and then have to just, it's not the end of the world because you probably just buy back later on in the day, but you'd just be mad at yourself over it if it did happen. And sometimes you get those wipeout moments where I'd want to be doing the opposite. And the way I see it, if I set a stop on, say, Apple, like so far down that it's like, oh my goodness, but if it broke $100, I'd be freaking out. Yeah, but if Apple did a move that was so big that I'd want to stop on my long-term account, I'm pretty sure I'd be concerned about other things in the world if it got that bad. That's just my 2 cents, so I don't use it in the long-term account. But trading, day trading, swing trading, I firmly believe in them.
All right, yeah, I mean, I think that honestly makes obviously a lot of sense to use stop orders. I mean, for those of you guys that want to use them, just use them responsibly. And I think Neil's right. I mean, that little whoosh down gets you out. And sometimes you don't want that. That's where you want to be buying, not going short or getting out. You want to be
specifically
buying.
Apple on Liberation Day. I think for some you were off.
Every stock, yeah, I was. No, Liberation. I think I was.
No, it was a different. It was a different day.
I was here for the Japan carry trade.
The Japan carry trade. There was anyway.
Me and Adam DeLuce were having some pints at that.
Yeah,
day.
like there was Apple specifically. I'll never forget it. The rush to buying at the open was so big. The stock was at 196 or 97 going into the open. And I set in our system like a stop breakout at $200.
Right.
And I'll tell you, when I missed it, I was like, oh, well, whatever. Maybe I used the wrong key or something. And then I remember talking to traders at other offices. Like if you were trying to break it out at the open, you weren't getting filled. Mm-hmm. You needed to go long in the pre-market when it was down, because once the algo started buying that morning, you forget about chasing it. Stop limit orders were not getting you filled. You had to, which that's what I use. I don't use market orders. Stop limits were pretty much useless that morning. You just got to go in and buy. And oddly enough, in my personal account on that day, I bought some Meta, and like that. For that, I was just like, whatever. This is crazy. I'm just putting a market on open order.
Right.
And even though I was doing that in my PA, it didn't occur to me to use a market order like that you could have literally done the market on open order, which is another thing I was thinking about. If the market's ever like pressing limit down, people are freaking out, and you want to buy the open, why set a limit stop buy?
Right.
You can use a market on open order in that particular case. So I learned a lesson on that day big time.
All right. Yeah, I know. I mean, that's what these days are for. And make sure you join us every day, and we'll be going over the market with you and trying to find out some good value when and if the market tanks. I mean, we had even just on... we had a $5 or $6 winner of the day or something like that on Apple with Fed Day, which is just last week, the 17th. We had a monster bottom pick there on Apple. So, yeah, lots of trades available to everybody. The trade today is Marvell, though. I mean, we've talked a little bit about that. The reason why Marvell is going crazy today, you see this buyback right here? 10% of their float. They're buying back. So that's the story, right? Marvell's board cleared a $5 billion buyback right there. They had $2 billion remaining under its prior. Now they're doing $5 more billion. So they've got cash and their operations are fully funded. So when they have a market cap before, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but let's just say it was before in the fives, right? 50 something. When you're doing 10 billion, that's 10% of your float coming back that is not available anymore to trade. So that is great. And you never really like to see companies do too much share buyback, but I mean, it's worked pretty well for all the Mag 7s and for a company called Apple, JP Morgan. There's lots of names that have had share buybacks. And whenever you come back in and basically reverse dilute your stock 10%, that's going to be great. I mean, we sit here and talk about common offerings and stock offerings where they're you're diluting them. The stock's coming out and traders are buying it. They're releasing more shares into the market. Marvell has, let's just say it's 10%. So there's 10 shares out there for Marvell. Now there's only 9, and that's creating, again, it's kind of like the whole thing about Bitcoin as we continue to mine more. I mean, I don't need to talk to you about share scarcity or anything like that, but that's for those of you that were asking about that. That's why. And this is why when it went down, I still believed in the company, the silicon. I believed in some of the parts for this AI play. There's been many other names in this AI space. Oracle, that doesn't make the chips, that continues to go higher. We've seen names like, whatever. It's all the Mag 7 names plus others in the space, right? That continue to get going. So it's just, for Marvell, it was just a matter of waiting for it. And yeah. Man, good news comes to big companies, and Marvell right there, nice move up. We just need Donald to invest in it, and then this thing will absolutely rip higher. A stock like an SMCI is another name in the space as well, right? That's going to benefit. Dell's benefiting from the server side of things as well, right? Stocks like UiPath, QuantumScape, there's many different names out there that have different benefits and pushes and pulls in this market, right?
Energy names.
So yeah, the GE Vernovas of this world, good call out there.
Oklo.
Anything.
Oklo?
We did. Yeah, we talked about sort of all that. So that's what it is, man. And it's been pretty good. So that's that. And I do like Marvell, and I do think it continues up just a little bit here. We do have this live stock tracker here, and we are going to go over some notes of you guys in the chat and whatnot. I don't know if I didn't, okay, there it is. So 209.
See, but that's the thing when, oh, wait a minute.
Did you not restart it?
I did, and mine's back to Tesla too.
Yeah, so I don't know. But Tesla today, so OpenDoor up, wow. Okay, OpenDoor up 17%. Well, we're definitely sleeping on that one around here. So there goes OpenDoor up 17, impressive, man. Lithium, Canadian, Americas, of course, it's Canadian company, but don't tell anybody that. Amazon, BBAI, Palantir, we'll talk a little bit about that one. That was a misstep by me trying to go long earlier today. Well, I can talk that. I'm not sure. Oh, Unicure, that was a name that I heard Sharif talking a little bit about it. I know nothing about it. IREN, we've already sort of discussed that. There's Micron down 3% on earnings day yesterday. Great report. I'd say it was pretty great, but the market was looking for better because of the way it was priced. Price for performance. Look at this. It's like catching dollars here as all these names come flying in. Robinhood up to all-time highs again, I believe, is something around here. So that's great. And don't call it a comeback, but Intel's making a comeback today, up 5%. So that's all what's happening right now. And then we don't have any crypto plays on here, but again, with 13.6, it has been a nice run today for some of the BTCs, for sort of the miners, including Mara, had a huge run up today. I don't know if it's held it, but I believe, no, it has not held it.
Psych.
All right, about Mara, I don't know, up to 19 and then all the way back in really there for MARA, so we'll see if that can hold. And again, this looks like a breakout to me, just right there, whoosh, upside, so that would have been a great trade there from 16 up to 19. And some traders will tell you they bought there and sold here, right? I mean, that's what traders do. So, understand who you believe and who you don't. But I do like Mara. I think for the long run, I think it's going to be becoming harder and harder to mine Bitcoin. Yeah. And if you like the space, these guys are sitting on, I don't want to say how many Bitcoins because I don't know, but it's quite a nice number of Bitcoin.
Well, there's supposed to be the number 2.
There was a point where I was going to buy some Mara and then didn't. So I'll have to relook at that. So when does the White House Discord open up? Are they doing that? That'd be awesome.
Where?
I don't know. No, someone put in the chat. Right there. But okay, so yeah, that's a little bit of a look there. It all started when you guys were asking me about Marvell, and I think that we just did pretty good for that. And just, I'm not reloading the queues. We could have just done it right there on the Nasdaq. I don't know. We talked about the market. There's an hour left. We'll see what it wants to do. Our bet has been made today on many of these trades, including the Alibaba long, which this was one where we could have reloaded as well. Right into this area, but we're still at that area, so coulda, woulda, shoulda, we could do it right now. The thing about Alibaba is I have enough experience here to tell you guys that in the middle of the day, it sometimes is a tough get for Alibaba to get going, because now the traders in China and whatnot, everyone's waiting for their markets to open up, and barring some kind of news, it probably does this. And we could check it out most afternoons. It's a lot of the play in Alibaba is early. So we already got our $3 or $4 long on that 176 dip buy up to 180 there. So now we'll sort of hover around and wait to see if Alibaba, I guess, breaks this level. And then that would be a short that I think would get people interested, right? Because then you got, you know, North American traders and whatnot that are going to cover some of the longs that they may have if you take out today's bottom, which is 175. So barring the market just absolutely tanking, which you'll hear me all about that because we're in the TQs, then I think Alibaba's a hold for right now, and maybe even a long if it drips back into 175.20, and then we use that O's as our out. So that's a little bit of a play decision there that we have to do. Tesla might be the one that's on fire. Yeah, Tesla absolutely is on fire. I just wanted, shoot, can you go back to that BABA chart? I wanted to do this morning, but we were having an issue with my charting for Blue Ocean. Oh, you don't still have your BABA chart up, do you? Just throw it back up for a second. So like that low, that 176. So see the, you have Sean's chart? See that 176? I wanted to show this morning, but my charts weren't really working for Blue Ocean. I'll come to my chart and look at the overnight session at and what was going on when this broke out 176. So the biggest volume spike, I mean, obviously Blue Ocean's like anything else. Most of the volume happens at the open, but the biggest volume spike was through that breakout. Was through that 176 level on Alibaba. And if you don't have access to Blue Ocean, I mean, I don't know, we have it obviously. I know Robinhood has access. So there's plenty of places that you can look at sort of the overnight trading. It can be useful sometimes, and especially on something that's going to trade in Asia, just have a look to see where the big levels might be. I think it can be useful for sure. So now that issue is resolved, I have to remember to close my ticket and let them know. But I think Nvidia is about to take out that local high. We're able to scalp some out in the last pullback, but it looks like it wants to go. I'm not waiting for VWAP. I'm shorting this little pop area here in Nvidia. Just to go back over Intel, it's not at VWAP yet. It'll be 2 for 3 on Intel at this point because it did run the high on me once. Like I caught it, each time's been on the back end, in my opinion. Let it make a high, then short. Let it make a high, then short. But this time it ran the high, so I jumped back in the third time. But if it doesn't get to VWAP, I don't want this getting all the way back to the high. I'm not stopping out at the high of the day because this strong stock didn't get to the volume weighted average price. Doesn't make any sense. You know, allow it to try to break this and get one more leg down to the volume weighted average price, which I thought I was bidding before the power went out. I guess I wasn't. Oh, but, yeah, an hour. Yeah, and there was there was someone else that had a good question. It was, it'll come back to me. There was a good question along the whole power thing that I wanted to get to, but it didn't. Off the top of my head, I don't remember. This was like probably 20 minutes ago. OpenDoor breaking the high of the day, 18% up. I'm not chasing this. I still feel like, in my opinion, I'm not really thinking it's like parabolic on OpenDoor. I'm thinking it could still be a trap. Like to structure-wise, the breakdown of the prior support, you're still underneath that. So when that's the case, I'm generally looking to kind of curl it the other way. But it's also something that it needs to be distinct. Let it go a little parabolic and then look for a level to short. Like that's what we waited for this morning. Let it go parabolic into this level and take a shot at it. So until it goes parabolic, and I'm going to go to a 15-minute, until it goes if it goes parabolic back into like $8.50 to $9, like a heavy up candle, then I would look for a reversion play. But I don't want to chase this long up here at all. All right, so we got what's up to right into here. Chase, I hope you're good, man. Chase the Packs right there. He was just saying that, we sometimes don't go over some of the names in the chat, and we have that leaderboard, of course. So, yeah, you wanted to look at Tesla. So, yeah, we can have a quick look there, and I do see Nikhil. I'll get to your thing about ACN there in a couple seconds, of course. All right, so ACN. Oh no, sorry. Let's do Tesla first. All right, so Tesla. Tesla was on my watch yesterday. That's ACN, of course, Accenture. We'll talk about what I think about that. But there goes Tesla right now up 4%. I mean, yeah, it's doing that play where we came back into the 50-period moving average, didn't break it. So whenever that happens, I seem to think, and again, I don't know, I haven't, put in work other than what I'm talking about, and we can see some of the success of some trades and others not. But breaking right there, that's been great support. 440, 440, 50, whatever that is right there. It was resistance, and then eventually, as Neil mentioned there, we broke that and it popped higher, but then we came back in and kind of retested it and then bumped again. So when we zoom back in here, I think that this take, you never really like that top wick there, but those are always going to happen. Doesn't happen with a lot of volume there, so I'm not overly worried about what I'm seeing there right now. But that is a move for Tesla today, up 4% with better than expected news coming out of China. A lot of reports there. They're going to sell more cars. I think it's next week. Adaro said October 1st, 2nd, 3rd, when these deliveries come through, and traders are expecting better than expected deliveries. So when that's happening, you are getting a little bump up. I thought the bump up may have happened yesterday, but it doesn't seem like that is the case. So, all right. So on Accenture here again. When did you say they're reporting? Tomorrow, was it? So here's Nikhil right here. Thank you for the super chat. Tomorrow, yeah. So, all right. I just looked at, I want to see what the street was expecting, roughly 298 on Accenture per share, which is up from 266 the year prior for them. But, this downside move here, we have JP Morgan overweight. Stifel maintains a buy. Morgan Stanley is at equal weight right now. I'm going to have to find out what the problem is here. Now, they got hit for sure on government cuts and spending cuts. So Accenture used to be actually a great stock. I didn't even realize it was this far down. But as companies are cutting, and the government's cutting some of their budgets, this remains uncertainty for where people land with Accenture. A lot of companies now doing everything in-house. So it's this sort of discretionary money that's set aside there for Accenture. I don't know what their dividend is looking like, but if they can beat last year's numbers and they're a positive company, then I think it can go. Their market cap must be beat up really bad right now.
That's a stock I haven't looked at in a while.
ACN. It's not even, there it is. I'm just going to have a quick look at this because it doesn't really make too much sense here to me why they're so far down. Still a market cap of 146 billion, probably a decent short flow. No, only 2% right there. And I was just going to say Evercore. See, here we go. Maintains outperform on Accenture. UBS as well down here on the news. Some price targets have been lowered as well, but earnings are imminent. Yeah, despite the Trump-defying India jobs plan. Yeah, so there is some talk here about government cutbacks and whatnot. So I don't, Nikhil, you probably know more than me about that stock, but as far as the way it's looking to me, I'd say we always talk about get that garbage out of here. Well, that happens right here at 260. So if you can get above 260, then I think you can get a win because there's the bottom and here's a temporary bottom now heading into earnings. So I do think that there is a good opportunity for this to get back up to the upside. I don't actually think it's a great buy. I'm going to just go zoom in one more longer here because there's a UNH story behind everything, right? And I just don't know if at some point stocks like this are too beat up. And here's a monthly, gives us a little bit more of a look on Accenture. So the last time we were back in here was 2020. This to me looks like a buy, honestly, at some of these levels. This is what UNH did. And look, a lot of traders lost a lot of money on UNH because they tried to catch this bottom and a lot got out near the bottom. But that also bounces off of 2020 lows. So I would say that there is some kind of value in that, but without doing more work, then yeah, I don't know, but there it goes right there. UNH bounces off 2020 lows. ACN right now at 2020 lows.
You know what I remember about that stock?
Oh, you tell me. Yeah.
Oh, anytime you go to those old historical levels, if a level like that hits on a stock that I like, it's an auto buy. If I don't like it, then you got to think about it. But if you like the company, it's an auto buy, I think. But I'm going to give Drew credit for bringing this story to my attention. We knew this was happening. Everybody knew this was happening. But FINRA is this is pending approval by the SEC. Pattern day trading rule, that 25 million equity rule for pattern day trading, is looking to amend it and replace that rule. So we did hint at this a few months ago, because remember, the markets are going 23.5, and when that happens, you can rest assured that that rule was going to get changed to some degree. And it looks like FINRA is doing it, and then it needs to get, the SEC obviously needs to approve it, but that pattern day trading rule, it's eventually going away. That's it's part of this whole trend into what's changing in the markets. They want to allow you to invest in trade more securities without being, essentially without having your hand held and told what you can and can't buy and when you can and can't buy it. Now, to a certain extent, we already have 24-hour markets, but it's going to be official. It's one of the reasons we're doing all this, is to have a better show and be prepared for when it does happen. And the question that I was forgetting about was someone had asked me about Oklo. And we had started to talked about quantum, we talked about everything that was moving, we didn't mention Oklo. These names, or at least this name in particular, are pulling back a little bit today. And my thoughts on this, it's certainly due for a pullback. Unquestionably due for a little bit of a rest. Do I like the story? Do I believe that these data centers are going to require just a redonkulous amount of power? We keep talking about when they're talking about 10 times the amount of gigawatts that Doc Brown needed to run the damn DeLorean. Oh yeah. And it's a lot of power.
Not even needed that many gigawatts. It was
1.21. And for these data center deals, they're like, it's like 10 gigawatts. And my frame of reference is, well, if 1.21 gigawatts is what you need to go back in time, shoot, that's got to be a lot. I'm glad
10 gigawatts too.
I'm glad they haven't remade that movie. It's held up so well that it doesn't need a remake.
No.
But Oklo, I think
need a TV series. Doesn't need anything.
No, it's perfect.
Maybe you never look so handsome.
You just go back and watch it. I can't wait to get. You said the kids loved it when they watched it recently.
You should have her watch it.
I teased it. No, I teased it and showed her the trailer, and she was like, maybe. She was like, maybe. Because the lead character is not a little kid.
It's not K-pop Demon Hunter or anything, but it's good. Man.
Watch that again. Oh, we watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Hunter.
She loves Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Is a great movie. I just wish I wish she wanted me to read the book to her, because I want to read that book again. Oklo, look, I think it's time off. This is a pullback for Oklo. How long it lasts is anybody's guess, but about 100 looks like we're trending back into yesterday's lows. And if we lose that 133, I think the first place to look for a dip is in and around that 120, and then certainly at the 105. So Oklo needs some time off when you have moves like this. I wouldn't be surprised if this did, it was SMR recently in New Scale. I haven't looked at New Scale today, so I can't really tell you. Yeah, I'm assuming it's down, and it ends up being down too. So the pullback that happened on SMR, it just kind of gave up the big parabolic move that it had last week, and then sort of bouncing off of that area. So that's what you kind of want to look for. Like that last big launch up, can it hold that on the way back in? Still on a daily chart looks good, but these things have gotten a little frothy. And when valuations matter for the limited time that they do in markets, you have to pay attention to that. And right now, you sometimes are entering a zone where the valuations can matter for a bit, and if you ignore that truth, then you can get caught not taking profit on things. I said this before, if I hadn't already taken profits on SMR, I would be doing so. If I hadn't already taken profits on GEV, then I probably would be doing so with the highs. Although I never got back into GEV on the latest dip, that's still one I want to get a dip buy on.
All right. Yeah. So about about Accenture, I almost think it's worth buying something here. But I mean, I already made the mistake. Wait a minute. When did we say it was reporting again? Hold on a second. Is it
tomorrow morning?
Oh, it's in the morning. No, yeah, Thursday morning. Okay.
No, when you asked, I was looking.
Yeah, I know, because it says it on here, and I just wasn't sure. Okay, so you just. My whole thing is you don't want to make a mistake of buying something too early like we did on my boy Marvell, because then we had to average into it. And on a stock that I'm not 100% certain on, I think is risky buying some. But if you had $10,000 to invest and you're looking to play something, I'd put $2,500. I don't know, play money. That's not play money, but I mean, if if you have 10 grand and you're looking to do something, I think you can go in once and an instant again. I mean, these guys, there is going to be a need for all this IT infrastructure to have, consulting work for that. So I think Accenture can offer that there, but again, a lot of their contracts have been declining, and with the most recent move from the government and Doge cutting a lot of the government contracts, that's been definitely a headwind for them. But I think that's in the stock now. So yeah, I think Accenture, oh, that's what I wanted to do. Duh. I wanted to see what its dividend was. I never want to chase a dividend. I just don't want it to be too big, because if it's too big, that does signal a problem. Okay, so 2.51%. So I think that's fine. Reasonable. So I'm not worried about that. But anyways, yeah, so Accenture, giddy up. I think that's going to be, let's talk about it tomorrow. And I think that there is some reasons to bring that up today. And I want to thank whoever did that, Nikhil, because that's an interesting level. I didn't realize it was that beat up. So...
for sure, I didn't realize that. You know what's on a run?
Wait a minute, what was their PE? Yeah, what?
16. Well,
16 PE?
Shoot, no, I looked it up, and I'm not looking at it right now. I'm going off of what I looked at. It was definitely under 20. That might be the forward, and like it might be 19 the PE. It's one or the other. I glanced at it when I was looking for the.
Oh, you're not sure? I'll look it up.
For the date, but I don't have it up in front of me right now, so maybe double check that. It was under 20. What I saw.
Yeah, it's 16 is what you saw. Yeah.
Okay. Well, but then something else was 19.
Well, the forward is 16. And the forward is 16. The current is 18 and change. They're both in change.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. Right.
High 16s, high 18s.
But like an example of...
we'll see if that P is true, though. We'll see tomorrow if they actually have decent price earnings and if they can make that
Well,
number.
That's the thing. The forward P only matters... It gives you an idea, but then you're just going to be looking for it again. Anyways, it's when the forward PE, to me, is like drastically different from like the current. Then it's like, okay, well, this is a really important report. Like if the company's supposed to go from like 100 to like 25... You know that report's going to matter a ton, and volatility is going to price all that stuff in. No, IBM recently, after they're done, that's like, this is an example of if you like a stock and it goes into some historical levels, like you gotta get in there. Like this pulled right back into. I mean, it didn't actually get to the April lows, but it came close enough. I mean, like how much are you asking for there? And now right back up. Of course, it's taking a day off today because. You know what? Today's the kind of day, like if a stock didn't take a day off from a rally today, just put an asterisk beside it if it was tech related at all. So that's Tesla, that's Marvell, that was the miners. Miners probably don't count in that regard, I don't think. Intel goes into that regard as well. But yeah, pretty much everything took a day off, which remains to be seen. Like, this could just be a blip. The last time this stock dipped, it dipped for 3 days and ripped again. So like the upward trend, sometimes you just take, like I said, a couple of days off, and then you go right back to square one. But this is a good one that I think is trending back into those highs. And everyone keeps talking about quantum, and the two quantum plays that you don't have to worry about how you sleep at night with, I think, are Alphabet and IBM. Like neither one of those, like I'm not worried about those two coming in and being down like 50% overnight. I feel like you have to worry about that with Rigetti, at least a little bit. I mean, it's in the back of your mind. Like, I don't think I could hold Rigetti without... Like, I'd probably... If I had this in my swing account, I'd have a stop on it at QBTS and no longer have a stop because we're playing with... I sold enough that we're playing with house money. Obviously, that ended up being a stupid decision, but I'd still do it again. But, yeah, like, these ones are a little bit crazy. Like, Rigetti's just screaming for some kind of a dip. And look what it did last time. When it went from $1 to 20, it pulled all the way back to 5. So if you don't think Rigetti can't pull back from 35 to get cut in half, that's not even close to the percent move that it gave back the last time it ran. So you just know that in advance, and then you sort of trade it accordingly. It's absolutely fine there. And RB, how do you work out what stop you want to put on a long? Depends on the kind of long. If we're talking a breakout, if it's a playoff support and resistance, those are usually a little bit easier. Like I'll just give you an example. Like if I'm playing off of... So this is Nvidia. Yesterday's low was 177.27. And it comes back in after breaking that low, tags 177.33, and is a short. So if I'm shorting it because prior support turning into resistance, then I'm going to have a stop pretty close to that level. Maybe not exactly 1 penny above 33, but it'll be before 40. And then you're shorting in that way. You're taking a breakout, it's a little bit more subjective, you take a breakout. Like you could take, if a 180 break happened this morning, I was taking that, in this setup, I'd probably be giving it either to this level, which is like that prior high or maybe that prior high. Some people like to use VWAP on a breakout trade. It's just as long as you predetermine it or have an idea of what it's supposed to be. But support and resistance makes it real easy. And if I'm doing a stop, on a Rigetti and it's a swing trade, I use trend lines, generally speaking, when it starts going ham, and then a close under the trend, and then I'm getting out of the stock. I don't use Fibonacci's or anything like that. I know some people do. I just never had any luck with them. Tried, didn't work for me, so I don't use that kind of a thing. And when a stock goes parabolic, I try to use a trend line.
I just posted up here if you guys want to join this discussion about ACN on Twitter. So you guys can go here. The bull case is here. The bear case is here. Then there's that monthly chart. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm interested in it now. So we'll. Thanks for bringing that up. I do want to talk more about that tomorrow when that does come in. Oh, that's right. I didn't load back the stream deck right now. So we'll let that load up in a second. And when it does, like right now, then we will do this. TQs are just falling back. Yeah, I just was trying to wake people up. It's not really doing anything. We talked about, maybe nothing happening here into the close. Not huge earnings. I don't think there's really anything tonight, is there? There's Stitch Fix.
Stitch Fix.
Okay, that's it. So yeah.
No, there's a couple of smaller ones, but
yeah, but that's yes.
I mean, not that Stitch Fix isn't exactly a big company either.
It's definitely not a big company, but so that's coming through there tonight. Yeah, so we'll see. I just bid
KB
there.
Home.
KB Homes. Oh, okay, that's not bad. I just bid 17s right there to see if anything was happening. The other one that had a interest in it was Alibaba. We said that could get a little sleepy, but at the same time, it is bouncing off that 176, which gave us $4 last time. So there could be a play there. What's up, Marquetas? Oh, there he is. There. What's up? What up, my guy? Hey, Sean, these trades are literally saving my hide here. Well, then I would say awesome. Awesome. And don't let that happen again, man. Just make sure that you are very, very focused on your trades and that OpenDoor. I hope this is one that you have there. You asked about it, and yeah, it's a lot of volume early. I think that when you see a lot of that volume, it's to the upside. Then yeah, there's buyers back in this name, right? And we talked about it bouncing off of a great, amazing level, $7. I think I even might have tweeted that out yesterday or 2 days ago about this OpenDoor level there coming into play at $7. We had Mitch on Tuesday, which was yesterday. It feels like. Yeah, it was yesterday morning, yeah. And then we looked at that $7 level, right? And it was like going to be a potential bounce zone. So there it is, man. Congratulations, up 18%. Just looking at the stock, it's already above. So this looks great to me. Like if this to me is a lot, like this was any other stock above, looking to go higher, starting to curve up. The 200 starting to base up. There's a 5-minute chart right now, definitely holding this 50-period moving average like a glove right there. That's 804, 805. Get it, Mr. Joseph, over there, whatever you're trading. 805, 806. Good hold and then blast. So if you're still in it and you're trying to figure this out, I would say this $889 area right there. We didn't spend too much time underneath it until we did this. Right, and so I would say that back up into here is a great out, and everything. We love having diamond hands. We love having fun like that. Deontay Wilder. Yeah, Wilder. He's my cousin. We both have the diamond hands, so I should know his name. But thanks, Joe, for telling me that that's what his nickname was. But yeah, coming right back into here right now. I don't think you need to have too many diamond hands on this one, or you're going to get knocked out like Wilder always gets knocked out apparently as well. So right into here, 880 or so looks to be for me. Everybody that's trading this, Maximus, all this kind of stuff, whoever's in this name, I think this $9 area is something to sell. We nailed the sell spot in BBAI to the penny. We said 850, it went to 848. So I think for right into around here, something to talk about. So that would be a level for tomorrow or whenever you're looking to make those trades. And if it gets up to there, so you're only 40 cents away. I'd even take that out if it happened in the after hours. So I would just put my order there, put good till Friday. If you're going to put days out there, and you could say I want my order to stay pending for a certain amount of days. Do it till Friday or whatever and see what happens, because Friday's obviously an options expiration day as well, so there could be a lot of excitement for OpenDoor around that day. So I'd say if you don't get 880 today or tomorrow, potentially Friday, there could be a take there. But yeah, thanks for grabbing my attention on all of that.
And I know you were talking about Accenture, and someone asked a question specifically about not bottom picking, but how do you know the difference between when a stock is a dead cat bounce or an actual reversal? The answer is you don't know. If you did know on the day, like, okay, so like Lululemon's literally up.
Yeah, Lululemon.
Like, here, this is Lululemon, it's up 3% today.
Water.
So the answer is you don't know. Because if we did know, then if there was an answer to that question that was easy, then I wouldn't be sitting here, man. I'd be on a beach somewhere. Or, you know, maybe not a beach, but I'd be definitely chilling, chillaxing. But what you can do is, and I said a couple of things I look for. One, structure over like the moving average. So to me, if it's breaking out over the 50 period, then I like it better. Does it mean it's going to go? Did it mean that the last time? No. But if I'm looking for a reversal of the trend, like in here is where it's showing me that it's reversing the trend. And you got this move, it lost at first resistance, unfortunately. But I know that's a trade that if I took this one, I can't lose because once it shows me a higher low and goes into there, I know my stop's in there somewhere. So if I get long on this day, I can be in a losing trade. It gives me structure to be able to play off of. Lulu, while bottoming out, hasn't done that at the 50 period. What it is doing, however, is go back to the monthly chart. And the last time we talked about Lululemon brought this up. On a monthly chart, the 200 period moving average is the bottoming wick on Lululemon right now. So it's a bottom wick as long as if it closes this month above this 2020 lower high, like 170, it's about 178, let's call it 177 something, but I'll call it 178. If it closes this month above that, I think this is a great bottoming setup for next month. But it has to do it. Like, we have a couple of days left. There's enough, actually, it's not a couple of days left. We actually have the rest of, a couple of days this week and there's a couple of days next week. So we have almost like a full trading week left for it to potentially break that low and then throw that out the water. But it does look like it's bottoming at that 200 period on Lulu. And this is, to me, what I was waiting for. I had a swing in this a couple of years ago. It was sometime during 2022. I'd have to go back and check. But it was holding the 50 period on the monthly. And so like Lulu was good for a little bit. I timed it like halfway okay. Like I think I ended up taking, I don't remember the exact time, but I remember taking somewhere near the top of one of these candles. So I didn't get the greatest price in the world, and then like kind of taking it out for only 20%. Ended up not being the best swing, but I think there's a much better potential swing if it can hold underneath this level or above that 178 level on this month, and then look for an entry in early next month on Lululemon. So yeah, if it's you don't know. But you take the entry because you like it and it's showing you the signs, and make sure you have yourself an out, right? Like that's why you go over some of these things. And if it breaks your out, then just get out. Don't get caught holding it forever. Because when you do have something, I'm just gonna go to BABA because I know this did work off the 50 period multiple times. Like when you do have something that goes and it holds that structure, there is pullback in BABA, there is it breaking once, there's pullback in BABA, there is it holding above the 50 period again. When it does work, it can work fantastically. And if you have a reasonable stop, you'll be thankful you did, but the risk to reward can be fantastic when you have a stock that trends down for a while. So, I mean, BABA's different because, I mean, its chart never looked like Lululemon's. But the whole point is that you don't know, you just have to come up with an entry strategy and then stick to it. Don't let it break the low and then you're like, yeah, but I think this is the bottom. I think this is the bottom. If it breaks your out, get out. You can always try again.
Yes, for sure. Always stop orders and risk management. Whenever my name is highlighted, I tend to see it here. So Joseph and Stevenson, shout out to Joseph, man. I actually think it's a big step to stay back and trade like he's doing right now instead of just jamming out. So I think that's a good move there, Joseph. But he says having a second, so here you go, Joseph, having a second income coming in really helps out a lot. Like I don't have to make money for bills to be paid. Shout out to Sean for that advice. That is the advice that I'll give to absolutely all of you. Do not try to trade for a living. I've said this over and over and over again. Neil and I have seen thousands of traders try to do that, and I would say 99% of them no longer trade. So I would just say, please, please, please do it. And this is just advice that you can heed or not. I think trading, and especially the way we're showing you here, is very unique to being on a prop floor and things like that. But there is definitely money to be made, and that's why we keep on talking about risk management, looking at different names every day, chasing the watch lists that we have, looking at the sticky note, trying to follow out, and then simply just by asking us if we're green or red on the day. I know, like Joseph just told me that he was red, now he busted it out into the green and is having a great day today. Like, that kind of stuff should give you guys motivation to know that, like, hey, if you sit down in your grind, you can do it. So it's definitely possible, but I think the minute you start to think about it as a full-time job, and you get a little carried away with how much money you see some people making as opposed to others, we don't tell you our nets. Okay, so that's why I say the best thing to do would be to judge everybody by greens or reds. And then that way you at least know that, okay, if traders are red on a day, hopefully they're not red as much as they're green on days when they're green, you know. And I just wanted to say to Stevenson, great job there, dude. I think you're maturing as a trader if you start to get that mindset. So I tip my caps to you guys as well. Okay, we do get a super chat right here.
Oh, it's not the same thing.
No. I just want to say, it's not the super chat of the,
It's not the silly trade.
Okay, looked at the smallest account last night for the first time in 7 months, 7 positions. He bought March 21st. Boom, boom. I don't know if BBAI should be a boom. These should all be, there it is. You already did it as well there. So, yeah. So that just goes to show you there, when you're in names that are hot fire, yeah, you could do that. So, and again, David, remember, this is the other thing, we talked about trading, right? If you traded in and out of these positions, there's no way in hell you would have made 98%. Okay, but you said it and you forget it and you left it there. Now that's luck because you didn't realize you did that. But that's where investing versus trading has its benefits, right? And we talk about that all the time. So, you know, stay in here with us. You know, let us know if there's any questions, and please keep giving those tickers and keep letting us know if I'm just blowing smoke or if you, you know, believe in that. And I can try to give you examples of both sides of it, right? So that's what it is. And I think a lot of people in the chat,
I gotta correct Maximus here,
probably do feel that you know, what I'm saying is the holy grail, and I appreciate that.
Almost 50 years of experience combined, Maximus, but not quite that old. Almost. Actually, wait a minute. Oh, shoot, it is now.
I started here in 2002.
No, we cracked it. It was 03 for me. So it's we're getting there. It's getting very, very close. It's getting very, very close. But I just want to, before we go over, I want to say there's one point in the addendum that I make, which I think I always find hammers a point home. The trader on our floor, that lasted on our floor and with real trading the longest, that Sean and I had when we first started out. We had guys that lasted long, but they went from firm to firm. So I can't speak to what they did at those other firms.
Right.
I can speak to this trader.
I know where you're going. Remember, the only thing is, I just want you to remember that you're saying only one trader. So I think
no, this specific trader, the one guy who had the longest career while on a floor that we managed. And I will tell you this as a fact, in his first year of trading, so he's made it, he's making money, he's getting checks. At the 1 year marker, in and around it, I remember he's like, man, I'm going to go and I'm going to work nights. Because he's like, I want to supplement that income. He's just like, it wasn't making enough, the pressure was too much. And that act literally broke him out of the slump that he was in because he wasn't putting the same kind of pressure on himself. Now, ultimately, even now himself, I know he moved, he moved literally halfway across the world. So I think he only swing trades now. And even the most successful guy, I think, I'm trying to remember, it might have been 15 or 16 years at best. At least 13, less than 16, something along those lines. But it just goes to show, like, even someone like that, I remember when he made that decision, I'm like, that's a pretty smart move, man. Because I'll tell you, I stayed at home as long as possible so that I could save up and not be freaked out if I got into a slump because I'd have a bit of a bankroll. Like, if I had been worried about bills and that stuff, like, I don't know what would have happened when I took my first hit. I couldn't honestly tell you because it didn't. Because at that time, I'd just been saving, and, you know, like, I didn't have a cell phone for a while because I was just being as cheap as you know what. Because in the back of my mind, when I started trading, in the back of my mind, I'm like, this ain't gonna last. So, anyways, that was just my 2 cents. I wanted to throw that in there. He did not move to Dubai. He moved to, this trader on top of moved to Japan.
I do appreciate you, pro day trader, and I know you've been saying this for years. If you follow, forget about, you can just put insert most people's names here. You just got to create your own style and learn how to do it, right? And that's what it is. And yeah, so, you know, it's tough, right? And so I wish I could divulge more information, but we have privacy here and everything like that. So we're just going to continue to show you guys what we're doing on there, and I hope that you take the words to heart, what we're saying, because you know, If you buy me a beer, I could be more honest. No, just joking. We're being very honest. All right, so there goes nice downside play here for the TQs coming back in again. I mean, we've put on, you've seen me in the last couple of days, just put on lots of different trades. And, you know, here's another one today. We had the same trade. I mean, you can go through my Twitter to see if you guys want to know more about some of these ideas that I've been putting on, right? So today has been great. We've only traded a few names. There's Alibaba. That's a W, right? Nvidia. That's a could have been a huge W, so that's that. Right here's Palantir. This is an L today. Look, right? So that's fine. And then here's the TQ. So we have 4 trades, 3 and 1, with Palantir being a little bit of, you know, I thought we could have done better there, but I think the risk associated with where we took it makes sense. So, you know, just not going short on that break when I already had the bias short in my mind, that was probably the mistake. So, okay, so that's that. All right, so that's that. Let's go. Yeah, please, Rivian Millionaire, you're 100% right. I don't want anybody to compare their trading to anybody on the show. You got to do your own thing right there. So VHC at 238, I don't even know what that is. I can help you by looking that up. Tree Bully Service, VHC. So I'll pass it to Neil, and I don't know if I can look at that. And
ooh, they did the patented, I don't know, I just looked.
Oh, okay, you know.
No. A couple of weeks ago, it looks like they went from the NYSE to the I looked up a story for it, and all I could see was they moved from the NYSE to the Nasdaq.
Okay.
Which is, again, I haven't looked at the stock, but that's usually been a bit of a good play. Usually you do that because you want to eventually get in the Nasdaq index. But who knows? Again, I haven't looked at it. Just very quickly, I'm going to get out of NVIDIA this time. The market's not really moving. There was a buyer that emerged here when it broke 177 the last time. And I'm going to look to see if they don't do that again. It's also 340, by the way. Early look on the imbalances. Usually I'll get to this by about 3:30, but there's nothing there. Kenview seems to have an imbalance every single day, one way or the other, for whatever reason. UiPath at 2 million shares, that would be pretty significant for them, and nothing else stands out on the early look. So I would say UiPath, that's a Cathie Wood name. I don't know if it has any stories recently, but that's the one I'd be looking at for an early look imbalance play. As I said, Kenview seems to always be there. Typically does not move when it has an imbalance. Rigetti in free fall, Harpreet Singh says. The buyer is stepping in a little bit sooner than I thought, so I might jump in. Yeah, I'm going to jump out. If it's buying up here instead of down here, someone asked me earlier if I thought there was an ascending wedge happening in NVIDIA. I mean, it kind of looks like one, right? Like the same high with higher lows. So I'll respect that. And maybe it goes lower. We'll see. So I'm going to respect that. Break even stop on Intel, and we'll jump out of NVIDIA. Just support the resistance. And then, what was I about to look at? Because like 2 seconds ago, Rigetti.
Oh, Rigetti, yeah. Someone asked.
Falling like a rock? I mean, it's almost red on the day. It's giving a lot of this move back, but it's still up 1 point. I don't know if you could say falling like a rock, certainly falling very heavily. And then in the chat, someone said this is a $5 stock. I'm not putting I couldn't put a valuation on this. I'm sure if you did any type of fundamental analysis on the quantum stocks, you'd probably gasp at what people would say it's worth. Do I think it's worth? I think Shkreli said this one was a 0. I think IonQ was the only one that wasn't a 0. I'm pretty sure. You go back, he tweeted about it last year. But in terms of valuing these things, you can't really. They just announced a couple of weeks ago a 3-year deal that gave them $15 million. The market cap's in the billions. So what it's worth, who knows? Right now, a lot of these stocks look very toppish, and you're going to put a big reversal off of this, recent high here today. Still ends up green. I think until you take out a prior day close, it's still holding structure. But if the day that it loses on earnest, like one of the prior closes and is red, then you start thinking about the back end of this trade, for sure. Like how many up days in a row? Certainly people got to take some profit on this thing. It's nuts.
Yeah, that I looked up that VHC Vernet Holdings. Yeah, this is what nothing. This is what it looks like on the daily right here. It's it's okay. They don't have earnings or anything like that. So just because you super chatted, I'll bring it up and people can have a look at it. I'm not even really sure what they do, but no earnings, 3 million float, 3% short. So that's what it is. But thanks for the super chat. And this is what it looks like on the daily. It looks like it's trying to hold. I mean, I would say 12 to 14, but without knowing what they do right there. Well, here it is right here on Benzinga It is company and industry. What are some of its peers' maps? Versus listing to Nasdaq, they just switched over. Here it is. Vertex Holdings engaged in the business of commercial and portfolio. Patents. They hold a bunch of patents. Commercial patents for what? Software and technology solutions, domain name registry and stuff. Okay, so yeah. I don't know much about it. I don't.
That exciting.
Can't say I love the space, and it's only done 5,000 shares today. So, not one to day trade, but thank you so much for everything. The news stories today are pretty plentiful, man. I mean, LAC here with Lithium, Canada, of course, it's Lithium America. But that was an interesting story to talk about because LAC there, and I think it's pretty much only rumored, right? This buy that the United States are looking to do here, in active talks with the U.S. Department of Energy, the DOE there, to get involved with this company as they look to, again, secure more minerals. And the first there, and General Motors, about accessing the first draw in this federal loan. So discussions now about this. We'll see. There's some sort of a Thacker project there. It's called Loan Proceeds Will Support the Thacker project.
Because they spun off the company a few years back, and then this Thacker it's like the only New Lithium America is only that. So that's the big deal.
This is to help them, I guess, get that out of the ground there. So
the way I see it, though, is there any $2.2 billion loan? Is there any way that the government's going to that this administration is going to restructure that loan for them and not get the stake that they want? Trump's going to get the terms that he wants out of this. So I think that's why it's being so confidently bought. So yeah, they're not for sure taking the stake, but we've seen a history of if he wants to get a piece for helping out the company, he's been getting a piece for it. I think that's why it's up so much, and the shorts are probably covering. And Ethan's asking, you bought it at the low, will it continue to go up? I mean, if I knew that, I'd be long it myself in my personal account for LAC.
Here come the futures, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, sorry. All you can do is, to me, make your best guess. To me, it held that 460 level, so it was a long today. It's done a ton of volume holding VWAP, which is usually a very, very good sign to do hundreds of millions of dollars holding the volume-weighted average price. That's a great sign, but look at all this topping tail at 620. If it's underneath, VWAP sits at 580, but that's not what I'm concerned about. It's kind of this level here where it broke out 525. I'd be worried if that level goes, because I think it's a straight 10% down to 460 if it loses this in tomorrow, but so far so good. If I had taken profit on a long and was kind of comfortable with the amount I was holding with, I might hold on to some of it, but I don't necessarily believe in this play until you get a firm answer on this. You got to move today, you got a consolidation, a continuation, you ring the register, you hold a little bit, as long as you've taken some profit, that would make sense to me. But again, we don't really know if there's going to be a deal. If it comes out tomorrow that there is, you know what, we're not going to get a stake in this. This could easily just gap down overnight and give up half of this move. And then, depending on your situation with stops, you might be out of luck. So just keep that in mind. You are news pending with this. It's not a done deal.
Yep, good look on that 100% there. Be careful. I think you should ring the register if you've been able to take some profit. But we've seen MP materials just continue to rip higher off of those kind of deals as well. So we just talked about this, and if you guys are copy trading again, I mean, the futures, we've been short now for 2 straight days on these, right? Yesterday we were short up here, 104.50, downside. Today we're short here, downside. So we're trying to get that same kind of love back in. That's 102.80 there. Yesterday's short, we were short right into here. Right, today's short, we're short up into 102.80, which is up into here, and then the fall down right up there. So there's the move down today. So, what comes tomorrow? And I was just saying that maybe this is getting close to exhaustion right here. I mean, I was hoping that we could get $100. I wasn't hoping for it because I don't necessarily want to be too negative on this market. I don't need the market absolutely collapsing here, but this is something to look at tomorrow. So tomorrow's trade today, 100 on the TQs. Man, I really am enjoying the more calm down, kind of looking for these trades and talking to you guys like this, much better. All right, so that's what we're doing right now. Okay, we can take a quick little look at crypto. We haven't done too much of that here today, so just look, and I know not every trader here is into crypto, so I get it. But right now, Bitcoin 113.6. In the last 24 hours, up 1.5% there. Ethereum. We do have this all on the bottom, by the way, the bottom right, I think, of your screen anyways. It's there right now. Ripple's had a nice bounce, man. We've been holding that. I mean, if you're looking at XRP here, it's been really... Okay, there's breaking news. It's really held this 280 level there on Ripple. We'll go back and talk about XRP. We got breaking news with Adara.
Intel here on watch. INTC reportedly asking Apple to invest in the company as part of their comeback bid. Again, apparently these talks are really early, but I am seeing it. Intel reportedly asking Apple to invest in it as part of their comeback bid. Early talks. Intel's also reaching out to other companies as well. Back to you.
Apple, what Intel's doing? Let me see what Intel's doing.
Make sure you have a stop.
Oh, yeah. But
Flying high.
oh, might be able to get out of this soon.
So let me do. Look, this is why you have stop orders out, everybody. To make
This
sure
is why you have
protect
Andreas
yourself.
to let us know that,
Yeah.
Andre, that we're muted.
It happens, man. Like last night.
Why
but like,
are
here's
they-
Apple. You want Apple to invest in you, but why would Apple care? That's what I don't get. Why would Apple care?
Well, I mean, I have Apple Care. You have Apple Care on your phones. I mean,
No. You know what I mean.
Of course, I'm just joking.
Like,
Apple
what?
Care is a product, and
That doesn't. I don't know. I don't know if this one adds up.
Yeah, so Apple's not doing anything, but Intel is. So,
Very
barring more news about this story, I mean, Adara's here, but I don't really understand.
don't understand
Say that again.
that,
Can we go back to Adara?
really
Can
don't
we hear that story one more? Oh, yeah, the imbalances.
Imbalances are
rates
coming out
now. So, yeah, good call. I'm like, let's go back to Adara. She's like,
Nvidia buy
you guys are idiots. There's
2.2.
imbalances coming out.
Apple buy 1.7 million. Nvidia buy 2.2 million. Their Kenview we already knew about. That's a nothing burger. Amazon is a small buy, 900,000 shares on Amazon. So
I just got out.
3 Mag 7 names are buys. That's just about it. It's not huge, but Nvidia is not it's something. It's going to be an overall buy for sure. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that headline. 1.6 billion to buy is the overall market. Mag 7 967. I only caught like just the tail end of what Adara was hearing, so I want to hear it again. Adara, let's get that headline.
This is honestly all the details we have,
Why
guys.
in the
I will
actual
read them
hell?
again. So Reuters reporting that Intel is going to be asking Apple to invest in the company as part of its comeback bid. They're also going to be asking other companies as well. So Intel, we know, got the Nvidia investment. Now it looks like it's actively seeking out companies to invest in it. Interesting strategy, but either way, the stock seems to like it here. Again, Reuters reporting that Intel is going to be talking to Apple here, or has already talked to Apple to invest in the company. I want to mention as well, NBC reporting that China has agreed to the terms of the TikTok deal. All parties of the deal have agreed to all the terms. Trump is set to sign that deal tomorrow. That was reported earlier today. Back to you.
Huh. So
I just realized I wasn't connected to anything, so that's fun.
yeah, you know what? I get it, and everyone in the chat, it absolutely makes sense to a certain degree. Like of course, the U.S. government wants Intel to work. You want there to be, from a security standpoint, you want their fab business to get there. No questions asked. That makes a heck of a lot of sense. It's not a protectionist thing. I mean, COVID taught people a lot about supply chain, and we know that chip fabrication is just insanely important. You can, do you really want a situation where all the fabrication of high-end chips are being done, 90% of it by a couple of companies halfway across the world? I know that. Look, I understand that Samsung and TSM building out some factories here, but it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's just the Apple side of it. It's the Apple side of it that I don't get. Like, I remember when it was like Qualcomm or like Broadcom, and you heard about them, I could wrap my head more around it than Apple. And Apple, as Sean said, Apple's really not moving on this headline. Oh, no, it is. Now it is. But that could also have just been, it was probably the buy imbalances.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. This did not move on the headline. This moved when it was a buy imbalance of 1 million shares. So that's the big mover for sure. Yeah, I'm not, whatever. I wouldn't be buying Intel up here anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But if I'd been, I just wouldn't consider buying it on this headline. Because I can't wrap my head around that.
It's not even up that much. I mean, that headline was $30.90. It's $31.20.
Yeah.
This is just like it sneezed and went there. So I'll hold off on that to wait to see what happens tomorrow. I don't want to call anything a nothing burger in this situation because it's news in the space. I mean, does this mean anything for Nvidia? No, they don't seem to care about it. AMD today, again, just looking at some of the competitors here for Intel, just to see if they're having inverse reactions to it. I mean, come on, Apple, you should get some investments in Marvell right here. But yeah, Marvell, what a story that was today, taking away 10% of their shares. So that's good, and we like to hear those kind of stories, obviously, as those continue to pass through and give us some more information on Marvell there today. They just announced right here a $5 billion share buyback authorization. Got enough cash to do that, so I like that as a catalyst moving forward, and it's great for the Marvell long and great for the space. Micron came out with a report that, if you report two good numbers, then you go down 3%. And yesterday, Micron beat their expectation there. They had a great report. And Andre, I don't have anything in my ear right now, so if there is anything to do, we have to do it. So, all right, bless you, my guy, whoever that is back there. And we'll go over to Neil.
I think that was Fabian.
Was it Fabian? You good, Fabian?
Sounded like it was.
What's up, Russell, whoever that was?
We'll give a shout out to Mitch as well. Why? Because Trade the Pool says, instead of risking your own money, how about you trade with somebody else's capital? No more fear of losing. No more moving your stop loss too soon. And you could actually get enough capital to make it worth your time. So you can aim for bigger profits and not just a couple $100 a month. This is a revolution called limited risk trading, and it's being powered by Trade the Pool. So how it works is you join Trade the Pool, you hit the profit goal, and you keep 70% of the profits. You can check out tradethepool.com or scan the QR code you see on screen for 10% off and get more information. We had Mitch on this morning, and we'll see Mitch in like 3 weeks or so on Canadian Thanksgiving. We're going to see Mitch. So 355 just hit. I'm going to guess some of these paired off a little bit. Small move down. I just noticed like a slight tick down there in Apple. So it probably paired off that imbalance. Yeah, none of those over $1 million anymore. Like you're not going to see Apple, Nvidia, and Amazon were the three big ones. None of them are there, so they must have paired off their buying balances. Small buying balances. Not like they were gigantic or anything like that. So after the bell, like Adair and I are gonna go over everything. It's not very heavy in terms of earnings. There's KB Homes and there's Stitch Fix as well. And now, of course, we'll be looking at Accenture for tomorrow morning because they report before the bell tomorrow. So nothing burger on the imbalances. After Star says I missed the Oklo short. Well, I wasn't planning on going on the short, so I can't say I missed it. I mean, that's like saying you missed every single stock that moved. I was never planning on going short the stock. But it is down 8%. A little bit of a pullback day here for OKLO. You can't go up. You can't double up in price in 2 weeks or so like this stock is done without expecting this kind of a day at some point. Right, like it is going to happen. It pretty much always happens. It's predicting when that day is going to be is hard. But once it starts happening, usually you want to get out of its way and not try to buy the dip when it gets a little ham, like it is. Not SSR. If it got 10% down, that would make it pretty interesting tomorrow. But it didn't actually do that. So I'm not sure if any of these names did go more than 10% down. We know that was a good catalyst for OpenDoor because that was SSR day 2 and had a good rally. But Oklo didn't. I'm just going to check a quantum name. Rigetti is actually still flat on the day. That's just kind of weird. SMR is in the nuclear space. It's only down 0.5%. And just going
half of 8.
Sorry, 5%. Yeah, 0.5%. 5%. So yeah, nothing big is down 10% like OpenDoor did. But just to recap, that Intel looking for people to invest in them, and that now includes them asking Apple. And it's up 6%, but it was already up on the day. From the time that the story hit, it's actually only up about 30 pennies. So it's up 1% on the top on that story. Kind of makes you wonder if somebody wasn't expecting this headline to come in the last couple of days and was buy program at the open on Intel.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. Because now we're wondering why Intel was up.
It makes a little more sense. You know what's kind of funny? When you see something that doesn't make sense, just keep your ear to the ground over the next couple of days, and usually it's going to make a ton of sense when the news story hits. because buy program on Intel for 2 days in a row, and neither time did it actually have a catalyst that we thought was worthy of it. But it is what it is.
It's
but
the rich
I
keep
don't
getting richer in this market, guys. This is a rigged thing.
I also still don't make sense of the Apple thing. If it had been another company, I think it would make more sense to me. I'd love to hear more about the logic behind Apple specifically. But I'm going to get on up to the desk. We got the market recap coming.
Good luck with that. A couple of earnings plays coming through, so that should be exciting. Join Neil and Darren in just a minute and a half to get over all that. And apparently, I mean, out of everything that Adara just reported here, I think the fact that we maybe have a deal with TikTok and China, that to me is the much bigger story than anything that's happening with Intel. But I don't know, because as Donald Trump has said, you know, we got to take care of the youth and everything. And right now they are all over TikTok and all over Reels and all over that stuff. And I think there's a big business involved here with this data and the algorithm. So Oracle, again, if they can keep, you know, the data, they're the ones running everything in the background. That data is only going to grow. It's going to require more power, more infrastructure. So yeah, Oracle says, we here for that. And a nice move there. Was red there today. It still is, but was pretty good, bouncing off 3 bills again. Nice little movement there for ORCL. So again, a big shout and a big thanks to everybody. Let's just go over and quickly look at Intel here, just because again, the volume is really starting to pick up on this name now. 144 million shares, so definitely something to look out for there with Oracle. With Intel and Oracle tomorrow. CoreWeave, we didn't even look at this today, and we should have. 25 million shares. They're starting to break higher as well. Right now, CoreWeave's had a nice move, and they're trying to take out their day high. Now, with only 10 seconds left, right now, we will put that on and tell you that this show and this closing bell is brought to you by VinFast. So check them out, ticker VFS, the Global Intelligent Mobility Company. 3, 2, 1, we are now closed. ES down 0.31 right now. Nasdaq down 0.33. Not bad. I think we can handle all of that. Some sectors upside. We had energy with a decent day today as well. Some of the banking stocks were upside. Some SoFi and Robinhood. Robinhood had a good move. SoFi went back down to 29. There's so much to talk about stock related, and we do have a few earnings coming through. So again, thanks so much for watching. Again, every day seems to be so busy with the trades, and it just keeps on going through and through and through. There's always opportunity, and we're going to be here to help you find it. All right, check your inbox. There's a new note going out that we're calling Sharif's Morning Note or something like that. Make sure you go have a look at that, subscribe to it. Click the link in description to get going on that immediately, okay? So everybody do that. It's a lot of information and a lot of hard work put into that. So, all right, Andre, we're good to go. I don't have it in my ear. Yes, we got a thumbs up over there. All right. Joe, thanks for staying late, man, and great work in the chat. We really appreciate that. Thank you to all the guys working behind this mystery wall in front of us. We want to thank all of them for all their hard work as we get closer and closer to Studio 8 finally opening up. You're going to see Neil and Adara very soon. Thanks, Andre, Ramin, Fabian, and Brendo over there as well, and Sharif, of course, for his work on the Open and midday show. So, all right, I'm done talking, and you're done hearing from me. So this is Sean. Ciao for now.
Thank you very much. Buckle up, everybody, because today we got a lot to cover in Market Recap Show brought to you by Beta Pro by Globex. We got Alibaba rocketing 8.25% to the upside on a $53 billion AI bet. We had Micron. Hey, they smashed their earnings, Adara. They got a big beat. We also had J-Pow, oh no, talking about sky-high valuations, a lot to go over. We're going to break it on down for you. We do have some earnings names, but nothing too crazy with Stitch Fix in there. So the first one...
KB Homes might be the biggest.
KB Homes probably the biggest one there, Adair. I would think so as well. And obviously, some people are concerned about where rates are going or where they might not be going in terms of some cuts. But the first one, top of the list, Alibaba, that 8.25% was actually higher. It was as high as $180 today. So it did top out trying to get to that 10% move on AI cloud expansion. This is a biggie. They weren't alone. They dragged another couple of names up there with them. We saw Baidu looking to hold some strength. Obviously, K-Web, JD, all going with Alibaba. Intraday gave back a lot of the move, but a strong day there for Alibaba surging on that AI cloud expansion.
Yeah, lots to talk about here with Alibaba. I do have some infographics and that we'll talk about after. But I want to mention to you guys, Synopsys announced that they've just expanded their TSM collaboration. So that's going to be on watch, a little bit of a move post-market for SNPS. But I want to talk here about the next story as well, Lithium Americas and the U.S. government. There was a deal involving, of course, Intel, right? We also had the Department of Defense, now referred to as the Department of War. They took a 15% stake in MP Materials. What's next? Reportedly, Lithium Americas, it already has to do with the fact that Lithium's trying to negotiate this, I guess, deal for their Thacker pass. So that's $2.2 billion deal is going to come into play when it comes to their negotiations with the Trump admin. Interesting note here, Neil, and there's something else we have to talk about too, more Stargate. Speaking of deals.
No questions asked. More Stargate, more Oracle, and this is the reality here. Like, this has been a pretty big catalyst for Oracle. OpenAI, SoftBank rolling out $400 billion in a U.S. data plan in Texas, plant in Texas. Of course, actually, just hitting the news as well. If we're talking about Oracle, we're going to throw in there that we're going to get the signing of that TikTok bill. That's also another positive there, specifically for Oracle. So Stargate rollout, $400 billion in Texas. These data centers are gigantic and they need a ton of power and they move markets.
Yeah, really interesting look there. And something else that didn't really move markets today, though, Amazon getting upgraded by Wells Fargo. That was generally a pretty bullish note. AMZN, not necessarily bullish, though, like a lot of the market, pushing a bit lower. So we're going to have to wait and see. Tons of upgrades on a lot of stocks lately and price target increases. I can't believe we're like a month away from earnings season, Neil. And one name that's gotten a lot of love from analysts is the next one we're going to talk about.
Ooh, Tesla, wherefore art thou, Tesla? Running higher when the market was pulling back. We're going to get deliveries from them. September deliveries in China hit 72,000 units. In just a couple of weeks, we'll get some more delivery numbers out of them. But Tesla, that was a ramp job. On days where the market is weak, you'll want to find where the relative strength was, and 100% it was with Tesla on that delivery number.
Yeah, great look there, sir, guys. I'm just seeing some news pop up here against SNPS on watch. There's also IMRX. I'm going to pull up that story for you guys in a second, but in the meantime, we do have Palantir and Boeing. Kelly Wartburg with another win, in my opinion. We already have BA with some deals in Turkey and Uzbekistan. Now their defense side of things teaming up with PLTR. And again, I think this type of deal with this powerhouse level of company is a great look for Boeing's defense play. We'll have to see if it impacts the company overall, but maybe not so good of a look for some of these more traditional defense names like LMT, Lockheed Martin, or RTX.
Yeah, and look, I mean, when you're going to have Powell talk about the market being a little bit frothy, it's not going to be good. If he talks about the valuations being a bit high and the stock market riding a little too high, you're going to get some selling come in. He is the Fed chair after all, and unfortunately in this particular case, it was his comments yesterday during his talk that brought all the major indexes under a little bit of pressure for the last couple of sessions. No questions asked. So big pop a pump. Wasn't pumping things too much in here today. Overall, whether you're looking at the Nasdaq, IWM, SPY, it was more or less not disastrous, but now a couple of days in a row of pullback here. Specifically the Qs you're going to see a little bit off the bottom, no questions asked, but we're certainly in a bit of a pullback. And it's not that you're blaming Powell for this. But certainly you cannot ignore his comments and the effect that it did have. But if we jump right back to that first story and think about what I said about relative strength. When we're pulling back and the markets are generally across the board red, you want to look at what was strong and the reason why. Okay, now BABA up 8 1/4 in this particular situation. You have a 50. And this is the interesting thing. They got bought up because they're spending more, right? So you're still in the place where, hey, you're having a $53 billion spend and you're not getting punished for spending. The stock is actually going up because you think that's going to fuel the growth. That's the idea that you want here for new data centers here in Brazil, France as well. Now, there's still obviously some geopolitical risk here, but I'll throw you a bone for your geopolitical risk here with Alibaba. If we get a TikTok deal done, That's one of these things that needs to happen. Now, an Nvidia chip deal needs to happen to get a US-China deal done, but you're starting to see the dominoes fall, and that takes a little of the geopolitical pressure risk off of an Alibaba. Yeah. Already strong here. Certainly, if you pull up a weekly chart or a monthly chart, lots of room to be able to go. But I like the fact that you're going to get a signing of a TikTok deal. I think that helps out Baba in the short term.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and find out exactly the terms of this deal because we know China, like it was really funny reading the comments from Xi versus the comments from Trump immediately after their talk because they had two very different takes on how it went, specifically with regards to TikTok. Either way, I think Alibaba in a good place. Eddie Wu is the CEO of the company. He's been CEO for just around 2 years now, and they already promised the $53 billion. The fact that they're promising even more shows much like what we're seeing with Nvidia massively ramping up its spend and its investments. I think these companies are getting comfortable with CapEx again. Now, that didn't help Micron, which did have CapEx, and the market hated it, but Alibaba's got its fingers in a lot of different pies. I dislike how I worded that analogy. And I want to say as well, I learned this while I was doing some research on Costco, which we'll talk about in a second, for my infographic. Did you know that Costco and Alibaba were at one point in talks for a Chinese e-commerce?
I did not know that.
I'm not sure how far that went, but the companies were in talks. So Alibaba is certainly something to watch. Guys, Stitch Fix earnings did just come out. They beat on EPS. They beat on sales. Guidance here, I don't know if is how this compares to estimates. Okay, so this was corrected. So guidance better than expected for the quarter and the fiscal year. I'll drop all of that in the chat. I already put FUL earnings in the chat. They had an EPS beat and a sales miss. And we're waiting on KBH. We should get KBH at any time. If I can't say it out loud, it will be in the chat. Check the chat. I'm going to put Stitch Fix earnings in there right now. Also, sorry, Neil, one last thing quickly. IMRX, it's a small cap. This one popped because they had positive pancreatic cancer treatment results, and they dropped a minute after because then they announced an offering. So massive move there, IMRX, in case you're wondering why did it pop and why did it drop. Those are the reasons. Yeah, and
Stitch Fix, by the way, up 18% here, and actually was as high as $7. So this actually is pulling back a little bit. So Stitch Fix on the move for sure. Before we jump and talk a little bit about Micron, Dara, I just wanted to quickly remind everybody of what caused this Intel move. Like you're seeing Intel back to the highs again here, up 8% is Intel, and right back into the highs. This was on the back of a story that just hit in the afternoon, maybe 20 minutes ago, just over 20 minutes ago, where they're looking for investors. They've reached out to Apple specifically for a potential investment. That doesn't necessarily make sense to me, but it is back at the highs. That is the story. That is why it's going. You can't ignore it. So Intel, depressed company, the US government's invested in it. Nvidia is now invested in it, and they want more investors. Meanwhile, Adara, Micron beats on the top and the bottom. Micron has strong guidance. 12.5 billion revenue versus 11.9 billion expected, and it's down 3%. That being said, if the stock is double on the year, sometimes that's just how it goes. When you go that far, you're priced a little bit to perfection, and I think Micron took one on the chin. It's on a monthly chart. Like, look at the monthly chart on this sucker. This has been fantastic. Even just a daily chart, which will show you what the stock has done. Micron, unbelievable rally in this year. Just going, even like in April, it was at $80, and you've more than doubled up since then. So yeah, price to perfection is kind of a lazy way to say it was due for a pullback. But top and bottom beats, the guidance good. Usually you're punishing names in this earnings season, because they don't guide well at Dara. In this case, there wasn't much to point to that you couldn't like out of Micron's report.
I think the biggest issue, we were talking about this in the midday, their data center revenue year over year is down about 22%. And like, if you're a company like Micron,
that's their core.
Is that where you want to be losing? Probably not. I think the other thing, the CapEx might be a bit concerning, because like they got at $4.5 billion of CapEx for the current quarter, which for a company like Micron, again, bit higher than you might expect. I was kind of shocked by it, but I'm not super familiar, I guess, as much with the business. I will say too, and again, this thing I said during the midday, Oracle kind of smashed it with regards to their forward guidance. And I mean, I've looked into this. I do not know if their past filings support this at all. This wasn't a metric they even cared about until this quarter, and that is a fact. But regardless, Oracle comes out there with massive off-the-wall guidance, and Micron's guidance is fantastic. They also beat their already increased guidance, but I just don't think it's enough. I think the market was so shell-shocked after what happened with ORCL, in my opinion anyway, that Micron is.
It's meh. And it probably, look, there's certainly an aspect to this where they had the unfortunate situation where you just happened to report those earnings after Powell talked down the market. If he's going to talk about valuations, it could just be a timing issue. Like maybe if Micron had reported 2 days earlier before Powell made those comments about the market and valuations, there's a decent chance Micron could have been up and then tumbled after, and then we could be talking a different story. I have to because Why Not said this in the chat. So I'm going to throw to it. I love the chat's undefeated, everybody. Why not? Remember when Neil used to dunk on Intel? Well, Intel made a bottom. I think we all saw it. At the end of the day, like even, anything, and there's lots of stock which have made temporary bottoms, but Intel for the longest time just held, and maybe I got to show you a weekly chart or a monthly chart because I'll show a monthly chart, I'll show it much, much better. This stock, look at that bottom at 20 bucks. You're talking about June when you tagged under 20 for the first time, and you were still holding that low in August. That is a heck of an accumulation pattern down there, and then you get the US government investing in it. You can't, that's it. That's the move. It's held the low. It's in a different swing. And now all of a sudden you're talking about other big companies wanting to put some stock in it. There's a lot of people that don't want this company to fail. They want them to succeed, and they want them to succeed because they want chips made and fabricated by an American company. Let's just be real about that. It's been true since COVID. It's still true now, and Intel's the only one in the game that can pull it off relative to Samsung and relative to TSM, who make 90% of the chips in the world. That's just sort of how it is with these names. So yeah, you can't dunk on them forever. And call it whatever it is. You can call it a bailout, but at the end of the day, if they're going to do whatever it takes to make it survive, they're going to do whatever it takes here at Dara. So that headline with Intel causing an absolute storm in the afternoon is still holding these highs.
Yeah, I'm shocked, honestly. It was a weird story. It was a weird announcement. But I think one thing, too, that we've really seen is Lululemon as a deal maker.
Yes.
This is a guy that got dissed by Trump, who honestly didn't even name him by name in the post. I'm not sure Trump knew his name. Got really, just beat up there. And then a week later, he's like, hey, I'll come to the White House and I'll get money out of you. I honestly respect the hustle of Lululemon. He was out there in a weird hot mic moment with Jensen Huang last week during their conference talking about, I guess, the drink and the food, I think it was caviar or whatever that they were eating. It was really weird. But the point I'm trying to make is Lululemon has got savvy. I think he certainly has the background and the experience to make Intel move. And I always want to remind people, he left the board in August 2024, specifically, or at least this was reported, because he had issues with what Pat Gelsinger was doing to the company. So now he's in doing the exact opposite. I respect it.
I tend to agree with you. I can't even argue with that too much there. And I see this comment in the chat. And I just want to. Here's what I'll say, because I made a comment about this before. The so-called free market. Yeah, in a general sense, there's a big difference between what we saw today with Lithium Americas, where you have a company which has a federal loan. It's like, look, if we're already doing this, then we should be getting something for restructuring your loan. It's happening. If we're going to do it, we're going to get a piece of the pie. Or simply just, we're going to bail you out because we want you to work and you're an important industry. You're not nationalizing this at the end of the day. In a perfect world, in my opinion, you wouldn't need to do this, but that doesn't prevent you from looking at the reality on the ground. So I'm looking at what's next for Intel, and something we want to do is always look at, tomorrow's trade. 100%, you can look at what's going on here and just simply say the price action is clear. Even in the last few days, big ramp, there is your rounded bottom here on Intel. Like it or not, as long as we hold out $30.50 in here, like this little resistance, is your rounded bottom, you hold on to this resistance, I think your next move is to 33. That's purely technical, but the thing you've got to keep in mind with Intel in this news is what happens if Apple comes out and like, what the heck are you talking about? We don't want any piece of you. Get out of here with that nonsense. And then technicals might not matter, but the structure of it, that 30.5 is going to have to hold for Intel. And I think you look at all news in that way to a certain extent. And especially that Alibaba. Alibaba gapped up. Great gap up, 8%. What are we doing next with the stock? It barely held on to that high. It's a consolidative day for Alibaba. And when you get a gap that's near that 10% marker, it's a long on the monthly chart for me. No questions asked. You've got clear resistance at above the 180 level as well into that 182. That was resistance on this monthly going all the way back to 2022. So I think you're in a consolidative phase with BABA. And the first look is to simply hold today's low, that 175. If you lose that, I think you're dipping easily back into the high 160s on BABA. So it's a consolidative play because you've got some long-standing resistance from 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, at that 182 level that you need to break out. Maybe it breaks out tomorrow and we're taking a breakout trade, but I think I'm looking for that dip buy first at Adara.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm just putting all the KBH earnings here in the chat for people. I'll go over the numbers. So their actual report on its face is not bad, but the details are worth getting into. Q3 earnings, $1.61 per share versus $1.50 expected. Sales, $1.62 billion versus $1.588 billion expected. They're guiding housing revenue yield for the fiscal year between 6.1 and 6.2 billion. That is below estimates of 6.26 billion. But it gets more questionable. So their net orders were down 4% year over year. Their monthly net orders per community are lower on a year-over-year basis. Cancellation rate is up, which is never good. It's up by 200 basis points year over year. Their ending backlog in terms of their homes is down 24% year over year, and their ending backlog value is down 32% year over year. So sure, we have a top line and a bottom line beat, but like the details here, not great.
No, it
really
doesn't.
Bad.
No, that doesn't sound very good at all, Adara, to be honest with you. But I want to switch gears if I can for a little bit here, because I think there's, we talk about some of these crazy, high-flying, moving names, momentum plays a lot, and sometimes there's more simple strategies out there that we can take a look at, and they can often happen in the places that you're not always looking as a day trader, and that's something like a Costco. How many times do you hear us talking about Costco? You know, this is one of those boring names that's just incredibly successful. And it's a kind of strategy that can work, especially around earnings season, that I want to get into with you guys today. Because this is a company that just had a great business strategy. Like at the end of the day, we all know how they print money, right? There's an old history with them that comes from the very beginning of trying to have the best deal, and that has given them such consistent profitability, consistent earnings performance. And if you want to trade the stock, there's something you can do around its earnings specifically, which has been a really good pattern that I wanted to share with you that we're looking at. And so here's the thing. It all began with a pretty good idea, a fantastic, a great idea. What am I saying pretty good? From Saul Price. Create a membership-based warehouse club. Membership's a recurring revenue. So back 50 years ago, almost 50 years ago, we launched Price Club. Move forward to a couple of years after I was born, and then you had Jim Senegal co-found Costco. They come together and they created a huge bulk buying empire, massive. They changed it so much to the fact that you've got Walmart copying it with Sam's Club. And all they wanted was high quality product, rock bottom prices. Sounds like something that works to me. But it's the earnings that are so consistent. When you look at the financial reports on Costco, it's relentless growth. They got thin margins, fair enough, but it's all about the membership fee. We all know this, man. How many memberships that you pay for, you know you're not even checking to see what's in your credit card balance. You're just paying it and you're keeping it because the value is good. 90% of their members, over 90% of their members renew their subscriptions. That gives them a stable and predictable stream of cash, and that funds the company and boosts that big old bottom line that we like. Recurring revenue is what everybody wants as an investor. You like it as a trader, and it makes it a pretty stable stock even in volatile markets. So if we're talking about how you trade this, because that's what we care about, brass tacks here, right? Yeah, you can long-term hold it, buy the dips, dollar cost average, what we always talk about. But on earnings day, here's a bit of a playbook you can look for. And you got to look at the expectations. It's pretty easy to always find that EPS and revenue. Just go to any, you can Google it. You can AI it if you want. Perplexity, OpenAI, it doesn't really matter. But hone in specifically on EPS first. Because while sometimes they miss on revenue, they tend to beat pretty consistently. But if you miss on that revenue, you can get that short-term dip buy. Now, for myself, I like a 50-period moving average. If you get a dip into the 50 or 200-period moving average on any kind of a revenue miss, I'm looking for a bounce at the first one. Let there be one thing wrong with it, and then I want the stock to go back up. Get that nice little pop if they beat both. Look, if they beat both, then you're talking about breakout trades. You're looking for any kind of consolidation break. But it's about that miss on revenue. I'm buying dip into the major moving average, whether it's the 50 or the 200. Get that quick dip and rip, and you're off to the races. It's the volatility around that miss that gives you an opportunity as people are trying to get out of the stock, which just gets dip bought up, because that's what you know the big boys are going to buy the dip on a stock like this. So remember, on pullbacks of companies like this with a steady revenue stream and good fundamentals, you're going to get investors trying to buy the dip. So if you're anticipating that, you get yourself a nice bounce play. And at the end of the day, it makes it a very resilient stock, not just for long-term investors, but also for traders. We're not talking some silly pump and dump play. If you swing trade the stock, you're not going to go broke overnight. That's the reality. So if you're looking for something to add to your portfolio, maybe you just want an earnings trade, this is the kind of model that can give you some success. Not going to be as heavy risk, and it's pretty consistent in terms of its success there. So there's lots out there to look for. I think Costco is something that gets missed a heck of a lot. You can throw in Walmart sometime, but Costco certainly gives it to you there, Dara. I say all that, and I won't lie, like I have a smaller family. I only have one kid, so we don't have a Costco membership. But everyone I know that has a larger family literally swears by it. I know for sure, like we used Sam's Club when I was, my dad was at used Sam's Club, and it's a very similar model there with Walmart. But it's one of those boringly amazing stocks is one of the best ways to put it. Boringly amazing.
I like that. Yeah, I don't have a Costco membership. My family hasn't had one for over a decade. It may be going on like close to 15 years. But I will talk about these earnings here, Neil, because you mentioned the revenue miss could be a good dip buy opportunity. Now, They didn't miss revenue last quarter, Neil, but they squeaked by. As you can see in the corner of this image, not even posted yet on X. This is a preview for you guys. Revenue was $63.2 billion versus estimates of $63.19 billion. So they beat by a hair. Even just near misses like that can always be potential opportunities for a bounce. Their comparable sales growth, Neil, is an area I would say to watch tomorrow, because look at that. Comparable sales in the US up 6.6% year over year. Canada 2.9% year over year. Other international revenue also up on a year-over-year basis. E-commerce revenue, a stunning increase of 14.8% year-over-year. So watch those comp sales, see if those continue to the upside. This is a metric that's also really been on watch since the COVID pandemic, since the tariff issues, not the pandemic. The tariffs have really, I guess, caused some concerns with regards to comparable sales. So if Costco can pull this out last quarter, I really want to see what they do this quarter.
And I actually want to say this to by Grace. We're always straight up. Trader TV Live, we give you the goods no matter what. Neil, looking for liquidity to get out of your position. I don't and have never owned Costco. And if you watch the show, I own Walmart in my long-term portfolio. I've been a dip buyer in Walmart pretty consistently. And it's the horse that I've backed. But I'm simply talking about a pattern here and an opportunity in trading that I've seen. And you know what? Like sometimes I'll be willing to admit it's like, oh, this is a good trading setup, and I've been staring at it. I've never actually taken a shot at it. For whatever reason. But yeah, look, I own Walmart in my long-term account. I kind of feel like it's one, like I would, in the long term, I probably wouldn't own both, but the trading opportunity is what we're getting at here. Before we only have a couple, it's already like 4:26 here at Dara. I know we had a couple of earnings names, but there's just, I wanted to go back first, if I could, just go back first, because obviously we didn't know that the Intel news this afternoon was going to be the biggest, I don't want to call it the biggest story, but the biggest mover in the aftermarket. Intel's starting to pull back a little bit, and if you're just tuning in now, prior to just before the close, and maybe potentially the reason for a couple of days worth of bounce in Intel, especially at the open and program buying, is that they are looking for more investors. It's not enough the US government, it's not enough Nvidia, $5 billion. They're also asking around for Apple to invest. Now that's caused a spike, it's up 7%, it was already up 5%, now up 7%. But it's the other side of this coin where a couple of days in a row now you've had just crazy buying at the open on Intel. crazy buying at the open on Intel. And now we get this headline. So it feels like somebody was in the know here that this headline could be dropped, and maybe there is something to it. We'll definitely keep our ear to the ground. Intel, one of the bigger movers and a lot of volume here, seems to have found a bit of a bottom. I'm a little skeptical of this. Apple doesn't necessarily make sense to me, but it doesn't matter whether it makes sense to me or not. It's whether or not it can actually happen, because getting more investment, and it's basically you have all of the, you've got the government, you've got Nvidia. If you had another Mag 7 name saying these guys cannot fail and we're going to make sure it doesn't happen, then you got to pay attention and watch this rally on Intel continue.
Yeah, and I think speaking of rallies continuing, OpenDoor, we have news.
Ooh.
So Jane Street just disclosed a 5.9% stake in the company. I am sure Eric Jackson is very happy. I'm sure there are lots of memes being posted on X. But no, in all seriousness, yeah, Jane Street disclosing 5.9% stake in OPEN. That's going to be on watch. Also, it looks like more probes are going to be opened here for tariffs, Neil. The U.S. opening a Section 232 probe into robotics, machinery, and medical devices. So any non-U.S. names in those spaces could be of note tomorrow. Trump is also very active on Truth. He's posted 2 truths, it looks like, during the last half of this recap. None of them are market related, but it's always worth noting when he's active, because there's always a chance he can post something that is related to the market. He tends to get in these posting jags where you get 3 or 4 posts an hour, and then you usually get at least one thing that is pretty significant, so be aware.
Jane Street was, there was a couple of months ago, Jane Street was in the news. And if you really follow finance, they were in the news because they had a litigation that opened up into discovery some of their books, and everybody was piling into that to try to figure out what the magic sauce was, whether Trade Desk was crushing everybody else on the street. So because they were just crushing everybody. It's like, how could they make so much money with in their trading desk? And so when there was that release, they're like, oh my goodness, let's try to figure it out. But if there was a firm that you kind of wanted to have an investment to get this to go higher, OpenDoor, it might actually be Jane Street. So this puts it on watch. I said before we left the show in the afternoon that I would be more thinking, hey, if you can't break away, I'd be looking for a fade under 8. Like it was early on today, but not with that headline. It's exactly the kind of thing that could have it squeeze even further. So, yeah, Jane Street and OpenDoor, this thing just won't die. What is dead may never die, and OpenDoor just continues to go higher. It's already 4:30. We do a little something around here if you're tuning in for the first time, and it's called Roll Call. Ooh. So first, I want to thank DJ Neurotoxin, good name, welcome to Trader TV Live. Good to see you in the chat. New member in there, so I want to appreciate you. And if you're in the chat, great. If you're not in the chat, then you need to hit the subscribe button. It's a subs only chat, everybody. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the content, if you enjoy the show, if you enjoy the news, if you enjoy the trading, if you just enjoy the fun atmosphere and community that we have here. And give a big shout out to the entire team. And I have to. Tyler Smith, you just said go Bills. So how about this? At least for my sake, and a few people type in that chat and just say go Bills or get it Adara, get it to our entire team, whether it's Fabian, Ramin, or Andre, to my man Sean over there on the desk, to Sharif, to Joe as well, to Obi who fills in for us, to Brendo as well. So I'm going to say go Bills, and let's get this roll call started.
Yeah, go Bills. Thank you so much to all the people in the chat with the kind words. Thank you, Computer Team. Thank you, Lasmel Melendez. Rivian Millionaire, Andrew Chow, Two Wheel Crypto, others saying Lone Sophos, Save Man, Woman, Peace, Steven St. Etienne, Alexa Bliss. We've got Andrew Chow again here, Explorer 12, Lone Sophos. We've got Derek Thompson, LSTD, Steve M, Trees, D. Westermeyer, Joe Schmo, House Money, Big 40 Nephew, William Knight, TH, Yummy Thai Foods, Brown Lightning, CJ, David Lewis, Junk Food Kids Never Always Ever, Ellis Funded Scalp, RB, High Vibrations, Trees, Ari Pages, Roger Noonan, Seth, Douglas Carlson, Carl Gruen, NYC Ernesta, Brown Lightning, Wicked Chunky Traders, TX Badger, Volky, King Clutch, and thank you to Neil, Sean, Sharif, Joe, Brendo, Fabian, Ramin, Andre, Mark, Rob, Juan, everyone you see, everyone you don't see, this awesome team. Shout out to Randy as well, and shout out to all of you in the chat. Because guess what? We're here tomorrow. And OpenDoor might be open.
Oh, I hope.
More upside.
I hope so, because it'll be fun to trade it. Before we get you guys out of here, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. But I saw Douglas Carlson in the chat specifically said, say hi to my wife, Charlene. So there you go, Douglas. If you're watching Charlene, Douglas wanted to shout you out. That's what it's all about. Family first, trading second, everything else second after family. Let's be real about it. But our trading family is the absolute best. You guys make it so much fun to do what we're going to do tomorrow at 8:30. We get right back on the horse, look at some Intel, look at some BABA, look at some OpenDoor, and hopefully trade all of them, and hopefully they all go to the upside, because that's what we love to see. So we'll see you bright and early. We're Trader TV Live. This has been the market recap brought to you by Beta Pro by Globex. See you in the morning.